fast food. Five Guys is real food.
So for this like game part, are we gonna be like sitting around in a circle as if we're playing spin the bottle and being like, okay, it's your turn now?
Nope. I will be in charge.
I'm gonna pull my mind out of the gutter for the rest of the evening. I'm so sorry.
No, you're not. Don't lie.
I had the same thought.
Oh, and at Starbucks there was a gal who did sign language. So I got to actually use my skills. It was awesome. It was a lot of fun.
It's gonna be nice tomorrow.
Finally nice.
Yeah, tell me how nice.
It's like 77 tomorrow.
Oh my god, I'm so jealous.
But then Monday is supposed to be a high of 46. Yeah.
Now I'm really jealous.
Pepper's only jealous to 77, Dwayne, because it's lower than Florida.
By a lot.
It's actually really nice out tonight. It's
You
like
have your sound on, Steve.
It's like medium, mid 60.
Ah, I see the sun has set, and the time has come to slip out of our comfortable places and seek out the hideous light leaking from cracks in the illusion as we seek our lost divinity. Welcome, viewers, and join us as we seek to glimpse a world far darker and more terrifying than the one we thought existed around us, as we seek out the twisted paths that will allow us to see past the great lie. I am Tyler, Eldritch Echoes Online, and I will be your angel of death for this terrifying tale. We are Vorpal Tales, and we have a variety of terrifying tales and awesome adventures to play every week, Sunday to Friday, all at 9 p.m. Eastern. Right now we are playing Conan by Modiphius on Sundays, Chronicles of Darkness, No Time for Reality on Mondays, Dungeon of the Mad Mage on Tuesdays, World of Darkness Ghost Hunters on Wednesdays. Damn it, Steve. Starfinder by Paizo on Thursdays, And on Fridays, we have 2 bi-weekly rotating shows, Alien the RPG playing Destroyer of Worlds, and of course this, Kult Divinity Lost, by Helmgast and Modifius. Speaking of Kult Divinity Lost, a special thanks tonight to Modifius Entertainment for always having their players' backs, Helmgast for making a great game and for allowing us to use the Divinity Original Sin original soundtrack in our show, which, by the way, you can buy by going to helmgast.bandcamp.com or webshop.helmgast.se. That's HELMGAST. Thanks to Astral Tabletop, who make the virtual tabletop we use for all our games but one. And to my brother, at N8 MIDD, for crafting the custom sheets we use in Astral to play all these awesome games. You can seek us out on almost all social media platforms by looking up Vorpal Tales. You can also find us by looking up Vorpal Tales on YouTube, Twitch, and coming soon all your favorite podcast platforms. You can also visit our website, vorpaltales.com, for all the info on us, as well as the free link to join our Discord and links to our Patreon page, patreon.com/vorpaltales. Come check us out. Doomed Seekers of Enlightenment, tell everyone who you are and the name of your alter ego in this terrifying tale.
Hello, I am Steve. You can find me on the internet at Voodoo Arcade, and tonight I will be playing Justin Clarence.
That's it? That's all?
I assume we're not doing full character dumps yet, right?
That is correct. He provided exactly what I asked for.
Oh, okay. Just making sure. It sounded a lot more brief than normal. Hi, I'm Ever. My pronouns are they, them, and tonight I will be playing Bennett. Oh my god, what's his last name? Bennett Reed, whose pronouns are he, him.
And I am Dwayne, at Made of Kimchi on the internet, and tonight I will be playing Dr. Lucian Nelson.
And good evening, mortals. I am Tim. You can find me on the internet at Othellos99. And I will be playing Desmond Mercer.
And certainly not least by my own admission, my name is John, and I will be playing Jack Zaleski.
And before we begin, to the viewers, a word of warning. The tales told in this game will be far darker and more macabre, violent, and trigger-filled than any of our other games. We, of course, have pre-filled out consent forms along with stop, pause, and bleed-over cards so players can check in, but we feel it's fair to warn the viewers. And now, we begin our terrifying tale of woe for these 5 lashed and chained mortals as they glimpse ever more of the truth and come ever closer to tearing out their own eyes as they laugh hysterically and saw open their veins. Or perhaps, as they slide the barbed hooks from their flesh, millimeter by agonizing millimeter, finally tearing themselves free of the lie, stretching their broken and rotten wings and ascending beyond humanity to something more. First, we're going to talk about the game itself. Once I switch to a more amenable music zone. Okay. As this is our first live session playing Kult, and for all of you players, this is your first session ever playing this game. We're going to take a little bit to talk about it. As soon as we fix one minor technical detail. Apparently we have double Johns and no Ever. Yes, that is true. Look at that. John, you superstar. You're stealing all this.
It's okay.
I just realized that.
My character is used to that, that just, being overlooked. It's cool. It's cool. It's fine.
Stand by 1 moment for technical repairs.
I don't know, John's fabulous beard, is totally fine.
That beard.
So, new thing, if we double up the cams, especially if it's John's face, one has to be his face, and then the other one has to be just zoomed in on his beard.
Oh, we have to put googly eyes on his beard.
Oh my god, please do. Just googly eyes everywhere.
Okay, there we go. In Kult, Divinity Lost, we live in a world where the sun has set. Forsaken creatures roam deserted streets of crumbling cities. Fallen angels, mourning their creator, seek shelter in abandoned cathedrals of steel and rust. Behind silent facades of skyscrapers, people in designer clothes strap their victims to cold autopsy cables. Forbidden rituals are woven with human blood and terror. Mangled bodies are taken away in plastic bags to disappear forever. Secret words are spoken by death magicians over cheap bourbon in rundown bars. In abandoned buildings, children of the night sell demons in bottles from Estee Lauder. Forgotten gods are revived by the neon lights and the street noise and tread their dance of death in trendy clubs. Every crossing, every rickety staircase or doorway may lead to unknown worlds. We are imprisoned in the borderlands of darkness and madness between dreams and death. A veil has been placed over our eyes, masking the truth and keeping our divine souls asleep. In the labyrinth of the city, the prophets of our age begin their journey towards awakening. We live in a world where the sun has set, where our divinity is lost, and where death is only the beginning. Okay. Now for some player, not character knowledge. The truth. Ages ago, a being of immense power, known as the Demiurge, ensnared us and forced us into submission. He forged 10 principles with which to bind humanity, then fettered us and quelled our divine fire, reducing it to a dying ember. We existed completely in his counterfeit world, and our souls fed its infrastructure when we died. The delicate illusion depended on infinitely complex machinery, where every facet of our lives served only to perpetuate our enslavement. Our jailers, known as the lictors, held positions of power throughout our societies, keeping us distracted with endless conflicts, impossible commitments, and aching desires. The illusion seemed impenetrable. But then, unexpectedly, the Demiurge's power started to weaken. We began to question the intricately constructed system of faith and politics which kept us enslaved. The divine order was thrown into revolt, world religions lost their adherents, and the once crowded churches were abandoned. Over a few centuries, the worldview that had endured for thousands of years slowly fell apart. Early in the 20th century, this collapse reached its zenith, and the Demiurge vanished from existence, either having fled or died. Now the boundaries of the illusion are weakened. Even so, only a rare few have begun seeing through the lies. Most of us close our eyes to the truth, creating new distractions to keep ourselves enthralled, nurtured by our greed and vanity. Our jailers struggle to keep our hands tied, obscuring our perceptions, whispering new lies, and always fearing we will wake up. They know that most of us somehow feel an uneasy sense of loss or emptiness, a pervasive need to know that there is more. The illusion's disintegration creates mental discomfort and disorder, which are controlled with therapies and medications that also blind us to the true reality. Madness, the irrational feeling something isn't right, overwhelms and leads us further into the darkness, away from the familiar and conceivable. When we see through the illusion, we glimpse a world far darker and more terrifying than the one we thought existed around us. Grim buildings, dirty stone facades, darkened doorways, all leading to labyrinthine border worlds where pale beings dwell in perpetual shadows. Demons and other tormentors target the mentally ill for spiritual torture, using them as bridges to claw their way into our reality. In housing projects, local cults worship strange gods and ritually butcher outsiders who won't be missed. Condemned men hunt for the secrets of immortality, making pacts with fallen angels. Conjurers solve intricate puzzles by deciphering arcane nonsense scribbled on subway walls. At the end of the street, the desolate house has a secret entrance which only an unlucky few can see. Old gods linger in the slums, bewildered, remnants of ancient beliefs sustained by humanity's dreams of bygone years. Beneath her well-dressed veneer, The smiling stranger is a flayed and mangled Mephorite who leaves bloody footprints behind her. The exquisite model is a mindless semblance created by humanity's twisted ideals of beauty, while the charming man on the dating site is one of Tippereth's incarnates. Creatures no longer fully human dwell in ghost towns, run-down industrial areas, and ramshackle buildings in the inner cities. In hospitals, coma patients construct vivid and marvelous dream worlds, places where they can rule unchallenged even as their bodies wither. Terror also dwells within us, and when the illusion weakens, our nightmares assume physical form and stalk the earth. Our perverse appetites, repressed for millennia, birth unspeakable creatures of flesh and fear. Some of us seek our origins, discovering pathways, puzzles, and magic to part the illusion and lead us toward the dim light of our original divinity. The game itself. Now we're going to talk about mechanics. In Kult Divinity Lost, protagonists are people who become involved in or are pulled into events tied to their pasts. Past sins catch up with them, demanding atonement. Childhood fears bubble up to the surface, manifesting in physical form. These terrors take shape based on what lurks inside of us. As such, we cannot perceive whatever exists out there without also being reflected in it. Every human being has their personal demons and their own purgatories. In these stories, the protagonists are forced to journey into the abyss, perhaps even across the threshold of death itself, only to discover there is no final destination. Death is only the beginning. The oracles and prophets seek our attention with their graffiti inlaid with hidden meanings through their rambling screeds on conspiracy blogs, and by stopping us on the street and shouting the truth into our faces with spit-laden monologues. Yet we immediately turn our gaze down towards the comforting light of our cell phone screens and keep walking on as if nothing happened. In Kult stories, the main characters are suddenly awakened from their slumber and, despite everything they thought they knew, realize their lives have been a lie. As the reality these characters carefully constructed around themselves falls apart piece by piece, they begin to glimpse a darker world lurking behind the cracks in the mortar. The illusion is starting to tear. The characters will confront unthinkable horrors, those who do not perish are changed irrevocably. They will make pacts with sinister entities to elude even darker forces, glimpse the truth that renders their past lives meaningless, and experience both the sweetness of victory and its rotten aftertaste. Each character chooses an archetype, which sets certain advantages and disadvantages, which we will be going over shortly. And each character sets their passive and active attributes. Character creation in this game is quick and pretty simple, and is, of course, powered by the apocalypse as its base. Anyone familiar with that system? This will make a lot of sense to you.
No, but I do want a shirt now that says powered by the apocalypse.
I mean, that works.
That would be nice.
You got gear without needing gear.
Jared, I want a pair of
I
pants that
have
say that.
mine. Can I
That's
have
actually a
mine?
good one.
Put it right up front.
See, I was going to go with the back.
Rules, moves, and roles. Divinity Lost is driven by moves. Moves are what player characters and I can do. Player moves include things like influence other, endure harm, investigate, stuff like that. GM moves are things like take their stuff, deal damage, separate them, stuff like that. There are general player character moves that everyone can use. And then there are those specific to what advantages your character is taking. Your contract killer character might have moves like Weapon Master or Sniper, while your occultist might have Occult Library or Exorcist. Moves require the appropriate trigger to bring them into play, and are resolved by rolling 2 10-sided dice. For example, the trigger for Act Under Pressure is when you do something risky, under time pressure, or to try to avoid danger. Once the trigger was initiated, you would declare the move, and then you would roll the dice and add a bonus from one of the game's 10 attributes, in this case, coolness. A result of 15 plus means your move goes off perfectly without any messy complications. On a result of 10 to 14, it succeeds, but there will be complications involved. On a 9 or less, you probably fail. but as with many modern RPGs here, the philosophy is failing forward. It's not that nothing happens, moves always drive the story forward. Perhaps, though, not the way you hoped. GM moves are obstacles put before you as players, and are themselves diceless. I never roll. So instead of a monster trying to grapple you, I play the capture someone move. Instead of having an NPC attack, I use deal damage as a move. The effects are automatic, and it's up to you, the player, to counter these with the appropriate moves of your own, such as avoid harm or endure injury. Moves allow me, the GM, to orchestrate the game like a horror novel or film, while the player to respond to these threats rests entirely in your hands. Kult Divinity Lost characters have 10 core attributes, which correspond beautifully to one of the 10 archons created by the Demiurge to shape mankind's prison, and their shadows, the 10 Death Angels. Each move a player executes is keyed to one of these attributes and receives a bonus or penalty from them. The bonus from an attribute ranges from -2 to +3. In play, you can advance them to +4 with execute. There are 3 passive attributes. Passive attributes are used to resist external and internal influences. The player moves associated with them are triggered when you are threatened. When creating the PC, each player distributes adjustment values of +2, +1, and 0 across the passive attributes. Fortitude, willpower, and reflexes. Fortitude measures physical resistance, pain threshold, and stress response when suffering physical injury. Willpower measures mental resilience, composure, peace of mind, and capacity for working through trauma. Reflexes measures the character's quickness, responsiveness, and physical instinct when assaulted or when at risk of injury. Active attributes are used when you act proactively. The player moves associated with attributes trigger when you take certain actions. When creating the PC, each player distributes adjustment values of +3, +2, +1, 0, -1, and -2 across the active attributes. There are 7 active attributes: reason, intuition, perception, coolness, violence, charisma, and soul. Reason measures the character's analytical ability. A PC with high reason is good at information gathering and investigation. Intuition measures the character's empathy and gut feelings. An intuitive PC is good at reading the intentions and hidden motives held by other intelligent creatures. Perception measures the character's alertness. A perceptive PC is good at scanning environments and taking notice of what others overlook. Coolness measures the character's grace under pressure. A cool PC is good at stealth, theft, and other situations, demanding quick decisions under stress. Violence measures the character's raw strength, fighting expertise, and viciousness. A violent PC excels at inflicting harm on others. Charisma measures the character's charm, leadership, and rhetorical talent. The charismatic PC easily persuades and manipulates others. And lastly, soul measures how sensitive the character is to supernatural forces. A PC with high soul has an easier time perceiving reality and is more attuned to their intrinsic powers. An example of how making a move would work be discussed now. I'm going to drop this for the players in the Discord. Using influence other as the example. The italicized text is considered the trigger. Whenever the situation described in the trigger occurs, the move is executed by following the additional instructions. In the case above, the influence other move only triggers if the target of the PC's influence is an NPC, and the influencing is done by a negotiation, argument, or from a position of power. If it's unclear whether the trigger applies, for example, if a child PC argues with their imposing teacher, who they have minimal leverage over, I will decide whether it's executed or not. If it's deemed to apply, the rest of the instructions tell the player taking the action to roll 2 10-sided die and add the combined result to their character's value in the attribute charisma. As indicated, 15 or greater, complete success, 10 to 14, partial, 9 or less, weird or bad or unexpected things happen. Moves will happen often. All actions taken by NPCs happen as described, since I will have already determined it makes sense for the character to take the action. I have access to moves, but they don't have triggers. Instead, they're executed during certain dramatic moments throughout the story. GM events transpire immediately and irrevocably. These moves result in challenges, obstacles, or consequences for you to react to. Common moves all players can make, along with talking about death and insanity. Avoiding harm. When you dodge, parry, or block harm, roll plus reflexes. 15 plus, you emerge completely unharmed. 10 to 14, you avoid the worst of it. You may end up in a bad spot, lose something, or partially sustain harm. 9 or less, you're too slow or made a bad judgment call. I make a move. And so for this one, on a success with complications, you've avoided significant harm, but I choose whether you end up in a bad spot, lose something, or sustain partial harm. For example, you might avoid the attack but trip and fall with her opponent on top of her, get pushed into a corner, become surrounded by your enemies, and forced to duck behind cover, or an ally. Losing something means you lose something you had while avoiding harm. Your weapon might shatter while parrying, you might have shit fall out of your pockets when ducking, you might get separated from your allies. Sustaining partial harm means you suffer some sort of harm, perhaps a minor injury at 1 harm, or a subtraction of 1 to 2 levels. For example, you might divert the blow so it isn't as bad, getting a ricochet only, or reduce the explosion's full impact by falling flat on the ground. On a failure, you react too slowly or miscalculate. I deal the full amount of harm or allow you to get out of the way, but not without ending up in a much worse situation. For example, you duck out of the way of the opponent's punch, but give another one the opportunity to jump on you from behind. You parry the blow, but get pushed down the stairs, the concrete stairs. You might leap behind cover to find out there's something else behind the cover that's much worse than the other guy. You might avoid the bomb's explosion and the ceiling might collapse on you, stuff like that. There also might be a psychological consequence, such as leaping out of the way of that same explosion only to hear your best friend screaming in shock, staring down at where their legs used to be. Enduring injury. When enduring an injury, you'll roll plus fortitude minus harm. What this means is 2d10 plus your fortitude modifier minus the level of the harm. If you're wearing armor, you also add its rating to the roll. 15 or higher, you ride out the pain and keep going. 10 to 14, you're still standing, but I give you a condition. A serious wound, you're thrown off balance, or you lose something. 9 or less, the injury is overwhelming. The player then chooses if you're knocked out, if you receive a critical wound, or if you die. Serious wounds require appropriate care and time to heal, but will not get worse on their own. Alcohol, painkillers, and drugs can remove the penalty serious wounds impose, but only temporarily. You can have up to 4 serious wounds at most. If you take more serious wounds after that, they immediately become critical. Examples of serious wounds might be a lacerated arm, broken ribs, concussion, broken fingers, sprained ankle. Critical wounds will not heal on their own and will get worse if left untreated. A critically wounded character must acquire urgent medical care if they wish to live. Once a critical wound has been stabilized and given time to heal, it will drop to serious. Critical wound examples include punctured lung, severed aorta, ripped out eye, spinal cord damage, cerebral hemorrhage, all the bad shit. Any character suffering from non-stabilized serious or critical wounds take a -1 penalty to all rolls for non-stabilized serious wounds, -1 period for critical wounds, and -2 if you have both. Questions so far? Minor injuries don't have a set number of how many you can have, and usually they're less of a they're more of a role-playing impact, like less mechanical. No hit points. Okay.
So we don't have hit points. Where it's just depending on if you're hurt, you're taking these negatives ongoing.
Correct.
Okay, so we can't physically die as characters.
Oh, you can die.
Okay.
You can take 4 serious wounds.
Okay.
And 1 critical wound.
If you do 4 serious and 1 critical, you're dead. Okay, got it. Sorry.
I can also choose to knock you out after you take a critical wound and give the team time to stabilize you, but you will suffer irrevocable harm.
Sure.
Your eyes ripped out, you lose a hand, something real bad will happen.
Okay.
That's permanent. When you use the Endure an Injury move, you roll Fortitude plus the 2d10 minus the value of the harm, like I said. Value of the harm, that's the thing I'll always have. Usually 1, 2, or 3. Most modifiers and penalties never really exceed 3, except things you buy with XP. Or if you try to, punch a Death Angel. That's gonna suck. You don't punch Pinhead.
Why
And
don't
a
I look
complete
immediately
success
at
of
Steve?
15 plus, you don't sustain any serious injuries. On 10 to 14, success with complication, you're still in action, but I'm going to give you a serious wound, unbalance you, or take something. Unbalanced means you're shaken or dazed. While in that state, you might not notice important details or must act under pressure to pull off any normal action, which is another move. In other words, everything is stressing you out right now. Losing something means something that was in your grip is lost. Your phone, your gun, someone's hand, whatever. A serious wound is any significant injury with disadvantages that's not lethal. So, if you do take multiple serious wounds, every single one has to be stabilized before you lose the penalty. The penalty doesn't stack, but it doesn't go away until they've all been treated, which can take significant time. There's no one-round treatment in this game. If someone gets fucked up real bad and you don't pull them out of combat, they're probably going to get worse. On a failure, -9 or less, you have sustained an overwhelming and dangerous injury. You choose whether you're knocked out and get a serious wound, take a critical wound, or die. Knocked out means you sustain an injury causing you to lose consciousness, panic, or become paralyzed by shock. I will also almost always give you a serious wound. You'll be unable to act until stabilized with first aid, or I say you've managed to have time to regain control. Knocking out is not an automatic death sentence. It's usually sometime I'll use that for interesting obstacles. Maybe the creature drags you back to its lair, or the stalker kidnaps you, ties you up in the basement, and it gets real bad. A critical wound is an injury causing unimaginable pain and shock. It is a serious obstacle, and no matter what I describe it as, it's going to be gross and you're not going to want to pick it. Sometimes it's better than the alternative. Also, like, permanent realizations, not permanent realizations, permanent, so like if I cut your hand off, permanent injuries, it's not going to just be like you now have -1 to all rolls. Well, everything in this game was written from the point of view of the story. The book refers to it as the fiction. We try not to talk about the mechanics. We try to make it story-based. So if you lose your hand, you have a harder time climbing or eating properly in a good social situation. People look at you weird instead of just like a flat negative. It'll apply when it needs to and have the appropriate consequences at the time.
Rude.
Dead means you perish from your injuries. You describe how you die. You get a few last words and sometimes maybe even one last action. If the characters have access to advanced medical equipment, another PC might try to resuscitate, like the defibrillator. If none of those things happen, you die. It doesn't necessarily mean you're out of the game, though. This death is only the beginning, and it only gets worse from there. That'll come up if it ever needs to. First aid treatment of serious and critical wounds. Providing first aid to another PC to stabilize serious or critical wounds is considered acting under pressure, which is another move you can make unless you're out of the fight, you're in a safe place, and a lot of good facilities. If you don't have any of those things, you're at -2 to stabilize the wound. 2d10 -2, minus any other penalties. Keeping it together is another move you can take. This is exercising self-control to keep from succumbing to stress, traumatic experience, psychic influence, or supernatural forces. Again, 15 or higher, stay the course. 10 to 14, gain a condition. The condition remains with you until you've had time to recuperate. You get dice penalties in situations where the condition would hindrance you. The players will be able to choose angry, sad, scared, guilt-ridden, obsessed, distracted, or haunted. If you roll 9 or less on keeping it together, the strain is too much for you to handle, and I choose your reaction. Usually cower powerless, panic with no control of your actions, suffer emotional trauma, or suffer life-changing trauma. Here is a happy chart for not keeping it together and what it does to you. You look at that for a second.
Yeah, we have that on our character sheet.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Indeed we do.
Stability, of course, measures your mental strength and condition. You begin composed, but it's going to go down real fast. When the character hits broken, I make a move. I activate a disadvantageous failure, as if you had rolled 9 or lower on a d10, no matter what you roll on that dice. The illusion crumbles around you. You shift in time and or space. Fragments from your dark secret manifest in reality. You get a new disadvantage. You become suicidal or self-destructive and must make more keep-it-together rolls to resist the impulse. You undergo... those are all the things that I will probably assign to you, or you'll be allowed to pick from if you become broken. I can also automatically impose any one of these conditions. You undergo change. Switch 2 attributes with different values with each other. Your life changes dramatically. Choose a new archetype. Or you can catch a glimpse of the truth. Gain +1 experience. When you've repeatedly experienced a particular type of traumatizing event, you become desensitized. I will determine when that applies, and if so, keeping it together rolls either become easier or potentially eventually unnecessary for that thing. If the keep it together roll is to resist supernatural forces, that means they win. On a complete success, it doesn't win. On a success with complications, it partially wins, and you pick from those conditions that we listed earlier. On a failure, I choose whether you cower in the presence of the beast, panic with no control over your actions, submit to it, or suffer life-changing trauma. Now we're going to jump through some other common moves you can make, and then I'll give you the page of the book these are all under. But that explains hit points and mental stability, so these we're going to go through much faster. Act under pressure. When you do something risky, under time pressure, or trying to avoid danger. Engage in combat. I'm sure we're all on the same page there. Influence other. This is when you influence an NPC through negotiation, argument, or from a position of power. You can also do this to a PC, but it changes the rules. If that comes up, I'll let you know how it works. What you can get from it is much different if you do it to a PC. Read a person. This is pretty obvious on that. However, this is interesting. When you read a person, if you roll a 15 or higher, you get to ask me 2 questions. 10 to 14, you get to ask me 1 question. 9 or lower, you reveal your intentions to the person you're trying to read, and you have to tell me what they are. Questions include, are you lying? How do you feel right now? What are you about to do? What do you wish I would do? And how could I get you to blank? It's a pretty cool way to handle insight. Observe a situation. We all know what that is. Again, 15 or higher, 2 questions. 10 to 14, 1 question. 9 or less, you still get 1 question. You get no bonus for it, and I don't tell you the whole truth. Or they notice you if you're spying. The questions for observe a situation are, what is my best way through this? What currently poses the biggest threat? What can I use to my advantage? What should I be on the lookout for? What's being hidden from me? And what seems strange about this? Investigate. Next move. Again, 2 questions, 1 question, or you get 1 question, but you pay a price for it. Investigation only has 3 questions. How can I find out more about what I'm investigating? What's my gut feeling about it? And is there anything weird about it? Almost always yes. Next, make a move. See through the illusion. When you suffer shock, injuries, or distort your perception through drugs or rituals, and roll soul to see through the illusion. As you can imagine, if you don't roll 15 or higher, no matter what, bad shit happens. Okay. Those are all your basic moves. Page number those exist in the core book. My PDF will cooperate. Begins on (122). Whole chapter all about player characters. So looking through there, you'll be able to see all of your commonly used moves not related to your advantages and exactly how they work. Obviously, I'm not going to read all 20 of those pages. Relations. All of you, as player characters, have relations to all other PCs and all other important NPCs. During character creation, you will set a relation with at least one PC, which we'll do after we do our round robin bit. And you will also create 3 relations with NPCs, important or otherwise, if they're still important to you. A neutral relation, a meaningful relation, and a vital relation. Neutral is acquaintances, friends, co-workers, most people you know. Meaningful is close friends, family members, romantic interests, beloved pets, your guru. Vital is passionate lovers, your own kids, your only friend, your true love, your obsession, etc. After each game session, you can modify a single relation by plus or minus 1. Explain why. Also, of course, events in the game will raise or lower those points. The reason this matters is there's relation moves. Wish no harm. If you intend on harming or killing your relation, whether directly or indirectly, you must keep it together, with the influence being an unwillingness to cause injury. In case of success, you also get a negative modifier. In case of failure, you cannot bring yourself to harm the relation. This can be useful when you're controlled against your will. Regain stability. In a scene where you experience closeness, assurance, and affirmation from a relation, you can improve your stability by a number of steps equal to the strength of the relationship value. So as you can see, it's crazy important, the ones that are at relationship power 2. That can bring you straight from broken back to mostly okay. And of course, lose stability. If your relation is seriously injured or dies, your stability is decreased. Advancement. This game uses a thing called dramatic hooks. Dramatic hook is a player request for your character to take certain actions during the story. During each game session, you should have 2 dramatic hooks. At the beginning of the first session, you pick your 2 hooks. Every other session, the rest of the group picks them for you, or I do if they can't make it work. Yep. At the end of the session, when you fulfilled a dramatic hook, you ask the other players to think of new ones. When it's fulfilled, plus 1 experience. You can ask to exchange a dramatic hook for another one if a game session passes without fulfilling any of your hooks. When you think of dramatic hooks, you should begin them by using the following verbs for inspiration. You should finish, reveal, tell, visit, complete, confront, investigate, or develop. Example, you should visit the place where the kidnapper took you. You should reveal your infidelity to your wife. It doesn't matter how the scene plays out. It does not matter what the result of the scene is. All that matters is you complete the action to get the experience. After each session, you will also ask each other the following 3 questions. You will have me verify for you. This is a group. If you don't all do it, no one gets the rewards. Have we discovered anything new about the truth? Have we learned anything new about our characters? Have we challenged ourselves? For each question you can justify to me, the answer is yes, plus 1 experience. That means you can get up to 5 experience every session, plus more if your advantages give you XP under certain circumstances. Every time you accrue 5 experience, you can choose an advancement available on your sheet. Advancements increase attributes or give you more advantages. After you take the advancement, cross it off. You can't necessarily you can only do any one advancement one time. After the 6th advancement, you unlock a new set of advancements, which might mean even attributes increase even higher, or you get to change your archetype. After 10 advancements, you will move from aware, your current level, to enlightened. At that point, new archetypes will become available. All of you have one assigned to you that you're moving towards. So, I'm going to drop this into Discord. The little squares, I'm telling you how many XP you need to do that advancement. So for instance, the first one, 6 experience increases 1 active attribute to plus 1. After you do that, you cannot advance that active attribute again until you get more than 10 XP and reset. But you could raise another active attribute, just not the same one. So you're never going to raise that -2 to +3 unless a very long time passes. Same for passive attributes. Oh, there's a misprint in there. The one that says increase any one attribute to a max of +4 should be after 5 advancements. So ignore that in the first one. Also, you'll notice after 5 advancements, things get cheaper because you're gaining power. Okay. Those should be self-explanatory, but when it comes up, if you don't know what they mean, I'll explain it to you. When you advance to an enlightened archetype, you keep your current attributes and advantages, but you also get to choose 3 abilities and 1 limitation from that archetype. To change into an enlightened archetype means illumination and physical changes at times. Discuss with me ahead of time because we may have to integrate it into the story. You'll also get 1 power broker to be allied with and 1 that's your enemy. I will give you the options. The enlightened archetypes for each of you are Dwayne, you are advancing towards the Abomination. Tim, you are advancing towards the Magician. Steve, you are advancing towards the Disciple. John, you are advancing towards the Magician. And Ever, you are advancing towards the Revenant. Questions on any of that so far? Check that out. I explained the whole game to you in 30 minutes, because that's it. Now we can move on to characters. This game's really easy. I like it.
There's no way. It feels so wrong right now.
It does.
What's going on?
What are we going to do for the next hour and a half?
I don't know.
Oh,
Panic.
lots.
Panic. I foresee lots of panic happening.
I will make this part of the document available after the show, too, so you can all have it. But I recommend you find these parts in the book, including those enlightened archetypes. Those are all in the book.
Hey, Tyler,
Yo.
what's in the game box?
Enlightenment, Steve.
Oh,
The truth. In so much pain.
There it is.
Steve,
Yes.
I have such sights to show you.
Oh, cool. We're gonna go like on a trip.
He gets it.
And our favorite. Anyway.
So, character time.
Oh,
Now
boy.
we're going to deep dive your characters. First, we're going to have each of you tell us your backstory. Remember, at this stage, player knowledge, not character. You're going to reveal everything, but the characters don't know this. We'll get into what the characters know in the next segment. Everyone clear on that? Okay.
Yep.
We're going to go over your advantages, your disadvantages, and your dark secrets, because I haven't read to you yet what they do. And anything you may want to change or modify after hearing the explanations for stats and whatnot. And this is your chance to move things around.
Oh, okay. Thanks. I've been side chatting Tyler like, fuck, I'm gonna change this. Fuck, I'm gonna change that.
I clicked the wrong button and closed stuff. Hold on. All right. We're going to go in the same order as your introductions. So we're going to discuss
No.
Steven's character first.
No.
Yeah, baby.
Oh,
Get to us.
Jesus. I really needed
So-
someone to go first. All right.
Going to need your name, your backstory in all of its glory, and then your physical description. And from there, we'll dive into your stuff, powers.
Okay. So my name again is Justin Clarence. Do I tell you where I get this name from? Just as a
You should.
so this is nothing to do with the game itself, but I went with Justin for Brother Justin from Carnival, and Clarence because he's played by Clancy Brown. So you can imagine Brother Justin. There's some information there. So God, I love that show so much. Anyway, so Justin is a academic and a dilettante. Basically, he had a very elite education. He comes from money, comes from a pretty blue blood background, and received the finest liberal arts education and continued it in a non-professional way going forward. So he has branched out and studies at a kind of surface level a lot of things. So he's not an expert in any one particular thing, but he can kind of do like introductory knowledge into a ton of stuff. And one of the things that he ended up falling into at some point in time was the occult. And through a series of rich occult people that he meets with, he actually ends up at a legitimate occult ritual in which someone is sacrificed and killed in front of him. So obviously a little shaken by that. It was his first time seeing something like that. He, doesn't necessarily fall fully into it, but he realizes that's out there, and he starts looking into it a little bit more. And the thing that he ends up discovering is that he can internalize and loves taking in other people's traumas and collecting them for himself, and then using that to push himself forward deeper into this idea of the occult that he's trying to find his way into. So, through his through his kind of easily able to talk about a lot of things at a surface level, and with a really high charisma, he is a predator that goes out and meets new people, falls into other groups very easily, very quickly, and finds the person that he thinks has the most and deepest trauma in their background, closes in on them, gets as close to them as possible, and makes them relive it with him so that he can take it in and enjoy it, savor it. And once they're finally broken and destroyed, he moves on and he finds the next person.
Pretty cool, dude. Okay. So, first, why don't you tell us what your dark secret is?
Sorry. The appearance, though, he's very sophisticated and attractive. He's got full brown hair with enough length to do all the best styles and fashions. Just imagine, his casual wear is that kind of douchey rich casual wear. And then he can dress up with the fanciest of them when he needs to. Dresses in expensive designer clothes and has no discernible features. If you ask someone what did he look like, just a guy, kind of an attractive guy. So, yeah, doesn't stand out as much once he wants to disappear. I just saw the chat from the box. From there, my dark secret you asked for, right?
Yes, and we'll go over what that means.
My dark secret is, in fact, occult experience.
You've witnessed occult proceedings which changed your view of reality. You may have participated in arcane rituals, exposed cults, serving disturbing entities, or seen things revealing that the world is not what it seems. Your experiences make it difficult for you to accept the illusion that most others live in, and of course, you chose uncover more. Was it uncover more of the truth or seek out more occult knowledge and power? One of the two.
Oh, shoot.
Your personal drive.
Is that on the sheet? Otherwise, I can go back and find it really quick.
It was either uncover more of the truth or seek out more occult knowledge and power.
Yeah, it was one of those two.
Yeah.
I'll get the specific exact one, but essentially he's trying to push for more of this occult knowledge, and that's why he uses the trauma, because that's the fuel for the type of occult thing that he was involved with.
All right.
Yeah.
Give me your first disadvantage.
Obsession.
Okay. You have discovered a conspiracy of supernatural phenomena, and you can't stop yourself from getting to the bottom of it. At the first session, and whenever you encounter something associated with your obsession, roll +0.
No.
And this happens.
What am I rolling for that?
Just 2d10.
That's
no
it.
modifier.
No modifier. Okay.
And I gave you the thing, and you should all be taking these when it's your turn, these little screenshots I'm giving you, but it's also in the book around page 96 or so is where it starts.
It's also on that handout that you put in Discord.
I don't think it has the extreme details of all of it, does it?
Yeah, it does. Well, at least mine does.
Does yours, Steve?
What was it? Sorry?
That PDF I sent you, does it have the exact breakdown of your advantages and disadvantages?
You sent me a PDF?
Everybody got one, yeah?
In our personal chat?
Nope, in the room.
Scrolling.
Yours is, of course, academic.
Yesterday
I
at
see it.
7:32.
Yeah, I've got a full breakdown of my character, the advantages and disadvantages.
Oh, yeah, it does on the 3rd and 4th page.
Yep.
That.
Yep.
Okay. So, for the audience, though, if you succeed at 15 plus, you overcome your obsession for the moment. 10 to 14, it influences your behavior, and I take 1 hold. 9 or lower, the obsession takes over completely, and I get 3 hold. I can spend a hold to let your obsession creep into your daily life. You may be forced to choose between either engaging in your obsession or losing stability. This is where you forget to shower and change your clothes and eat.
Sure.
What is your second disadvantage?
Nightmares.
You suffer from recurring nightmares connected to your dark secret. Again, roll 2d10 and either sleep in peace, have tormenting nightmares, and I might make a move in your nightmares, like, can't sleep, penalties for not sleeping, you have a bad night, you gotta pee a lot, your nightmares follow you back into real life and attack you, you get pulled into limbo, normal things.
Sure.
And 9 or less, pulled into limbo. The nightmares take over completely and you're trapped in the dream until you find a way to wake up. And everything that happens there happens to your body.
Sweet. So I get Nightmare on Elm Streeted. Awesome.
Yes. And your advantages, what's your first of 3?
My advantages are elite education.
Why don't you read that one to us? Since you guys have the PDFs, I can save some breath.
Yes, so I have attended one of the world's most prestigious institutions of learning and acquired contacts with influence. Excuse me. When you ask them for a favor, roll plus charisma. On a 15 plus, I can choose up to 3 options. 10 to 14, 2 options. Minus 9, choose 1 option, but you become indebted to someone. The debt can be called in whenever the GM chooses. I can either gain a favor from a country's administration, such as release from jail, help with a customs check. I can gain access to a location unavailable to the public, or I can receive both the means to escape and receive both the means to escape and a hidden spot.
Somewhere safe to hide. That's
Yeah.
what that means. Sounds like it's just worded weird.
Okay.
Next.
Also,
when I call on the rest of you, feel free to, like he did, abbreviate it so that you don't have to read everything line by line. What's your next one?
collector. Whenever you search for an unusual or rare item, roll plus reason. You know exactly where the item is, how to acquire it, and how to minimize obstacles. 10 to 14, you know roughly where it is. And 9, you know roughly where to start searching for it, but not the obstacles or cost involved in acquiring it.
And last.
Data retrieval. Whenever you look for information on a subject in the library, research archive, or the internet, roll plus reason in response to the inquiries you make. The GM will tell you what you uncover in as much detail as expected from the source. On a 15,
That's a good one.
Yeah, on a 15 plus, I can ask 1 question. On a 10 to 14, I can ask 2 questions. That's weird. Interesting. I can ask 2 questions on the not as good roll.
I would imagine that's a typo. We'll assume it's reversed.
Okay, that makes sense to me. Ask...
The PDFs that I sent you are made up. They're not copies from the book. They're actually written.
Okay.
So.
All right. And on a 9 or less, ask 1 question, but you discover something unexpected. The GM makes a move. The examples that I can ask are, what is this thing's origin? What is it meant for? How does it work? What do I have to watch out for? How can I destroy it?
Also a good one. Okay. Now, I know you wanted to change some stuff around. Did you get your numbers moved how you wanted?
I'm gonna do that here in a second because I this is the first time realizing that reason is really important for me based on two of the things I've picked. So give me just a second here. I'm gonna take a look.
Also remember, if you want to become more occulty powerful, don't nerf your soul.
Which is what I did.
Yes.
I've got some rework to do, so...
yeah, as long as you... We don't have to tell the audience everything you asked me. As long as you ask me, we're good. You can rearrange them as you need.
Okay. Yeah, I'm only going to switch around attributes. That's all I'm going to do.
Okay. All right, Ever. Give us your story in all its glory.
Oh my. Okay, I apologize in advance. He wants me to read it. So, heavy trigger warning for people. I'm gonna give you a second to think about that for a minute. My character's name is Bennett. He has the nicknames Ben or Benny, last name Reed. His estimated age is 28. He's got light auburn hair, green eyes. He's 5'10" and 180. And, I shall proceed with the backstory. A long time ago, I lived in darkness. Not anymore, but I still don't live in the light. I exist in shadows and wonder why I'm alive at all. There was a moment that I was dead, but I don't remember what happened. When I was, though, it fills me with dread, and a shudder travels up my spine. I don't know if I even want to remember, and now I'm terrified of what's after death. Now I'm trying to escape that fate somehow, some way, even if it's impossible. I don't know where I was born, who my parents are. I know my age because I was told that what my birth year was, but not the month or day. I made up a birth date for myself, but I gave up on celebrating it after my death date happened. I just don't have the energy to keep up with caring about much except staving off the inevitable. The thing is, I was just a product. I wasn't a human, I was a belonging. I guess they call it human trafficking, but it wasn't the kind you'd normally hear about. I was bred for looks, trained for service. Don't conflate this with consensual BDSM. It wasn't. I'll never find the appeal in that kind of lifestyle based on what I went through, but they're consenting adults. I don't care what they do. What happened to me wasn't consensual whatsoever. The family I belonged to was generations deep in the breeding and keeping of pet humans. There's even paperwork on each one of us. They happened to sell me. The head of that family decided to do that because I tried to escape. I should have stayed. They didn't care who they sold me to. And as per a movie plot, it was to the worst possible person. Not intentionally, it was just the highest bidder. Instead of pet quarters like my old owners gave me, I got a cage. I was used, abused, and tortured. One night, the abuse went too far. It was that night I died. I came to in an ambulance, and they said I'd been found face down in a ditch, deceased for an estimated 13 minutes, but the EMT hadn't given up. They said he was like a man possessed. And I'd believe it with the hallucination I saw overlay his face on opening my eyes. The face of a wraith of the depths of hell. The EMT wasn't a bad guy. I blamed the brain and what it does in the throes of death and revival. I told them my story when I was well enough to speak, but without evidence, DNA connections, addresses, etc. All they could do was send a social worker to me and set me up with some housing and teach me how to live in this unfamiliar world. I now live in a small, run-down, low-income apartment with a job as a waiter. I'm miserable, but at least I'm alive. I have OCD now from all my trauma, which is mostly manageable, but it involves numbers, locks, and closed doors. I bet you can imagine why. That leads me to a name. I didn't have one before. It was a letter and a number combined based on lineage of human pet. I refuse to mention what it was. Only the social worker knows to this day. With the help of the counselor service of abuse victims, I have a new name. which is all anyone needs to know about me now. The end.
I want to see that movie.
Yeah, Ever, you need to write a book.
Oh,
I've
wait,
told
I'm
them
working on.
this. I've told them this.
I'm working on writing a TTRPG, so.
So,
I will do the Kickstarter for that.
first, your dark secret. I think it's pretty obvious, but let's go ahead and read it from your PDF anyways.
Just a little. All right. So, for my dark secret, I picked Return from the Other Side, which is scrolly.
It's the third or fourth page there on that 4-page PDF I sent. Thank you, Kimchi.
Oh yeah, actually, dark secrets aren't on there.
Oh,
Are they?
It's just advantages and disadvantages.
oops, my bad.
That's
Dark
okay,
secrets is me then.
because I do have it written elsewhere.
Okay,
Yes.
I can get that too.
Return
Go for
from
it.
the Other Side is, and this is, I summarized it a little bit in my document. You experienced an event where the illusion shattered completely, and you are the only one who returned. Deep down, you feel you were not meant to have survived, and that something is coming for you to restore balance and order. And so from that, I chose one personal drive, and that was Elude Your Fate.
Yes. Okay, give us your 2 disadvantages. You don't have to read the whole thing. Like I said, you can summarize them.
So one of them was obligatory, and that is broken.
By the way, Ever's archetype is broken for those curious from the book, not doll. It's close. Carry on.
So broken is some experience in your past has broken your psyche so badly you've been unable to recuperate from it. As a result, your stability can never increase beyond distress, which is a 6.
Things are not going to go well for this character. Again, next one.
I didn't write him for a happy ending. Let's see here.
So bad now.
Hey, I've told you guys I am messed up.
The advantage Ever's character has, though, is several things that will make you roll to keep it together. They're inured to. So, what's your next one?
My next one is oh, that's weird. It's listed differently. So basically it's OCD. It's listed on the PDF as mental compulsion.
Okay. It's just compulsion in the book, yeah.
Okay.
Either way works. And then what are your 3 advantages?
3 advantages are very special. I have all the advantages. Damn it. What did I pick? I've got it. I swear. I just have to flip to a document. Okay. 6th Sense, Contagious Insanity, and Daredevil.
And then go ahead and read the little blurb for each of those from the 4-page PDF. You know, like I said, you don't got to go through all the dice rolls, but give us the blurb.
Yeah, I figured I'd read it off my document before I switch to a PDF. By the way, it takes me forever for audience who wonders, because I work on a tablet, not a giant computer screen.
It's a sexy tablet, but it's still a tablet.
Oh, it's a very sexy tablet. All right, so I will start with Contagious Insanity, since it's the top one up there. Whenever you allow your madness to infect someone you're speaking with, I roll soul. But to go past that a bit, I can afflict my victim with a temporary psychosis in which they are haunted by their fears, NPCs only. I can trigger a disadvantage within another person, PCs only. Roll for the disadvantage. I can affect an additional victim or call for creatures of madness to haunt the infected.
It was some EMT. Next.
Okay. Next one was Daredevil in 6th Sense. Okay. Sixth Sense. I get to act first in a threatening situation, including surprise attacks. Sense whether someone wishes good or ill towards me. Discover or sense a clue or a lead when you're off track.
And the last one.
Daredevil. I can discover a threat before it discovers me. I can avoid an attack. I can get the jump on them, harm my opponent before they can react.
Next is
I've got
Dwayne.
some.
Oh, sorry, go.
Oh no, I was just gonna say I've got some really good stuff here.
Yes. Okay. Dwayne, give us the story.
Okay, here we go. So tonight I will be playing Dr. Lucian Nelson, a physicist with above normal IQ. I've become one of the most brilliant scientific minds of my generation. My experiments have ranged from quantum physics to genetic engineering, propelling me into an unknown relationship with a government agency known as Equinox. Most of my lead experiments recently have been across human and animal DNA for advanced combat, survival, yada yada yada. Steps ranging from, animal fetus insertion into human host, human fetus insertion into animal host, direct DNA insertion into human stem cells, complex cellular fission of dual hosts, yada yada yada. You guys get it. Experiments have been 50-50. Pretty happy about that. Experiments on children were most promising. There were some side effects, mostly physical, subjects taking on the looks of the animal DNA they were infused with, but we'll look past that. There was an accident. One of the subjects got loose, and it resulted in the death of one of my assistants, which started a rise in the scientific community of accusations of using humans as guinea pigs for experiments. This led to the shutdown of my project, Altered Beast, and the closing of my lab. To save face, I was blamed for all the experiments and placed in a mental institution. This institution was obviously owned by Equinox, who sought to extract all experimental knowledge from myself through stressful and mutilating interrogation. In an attempt to atone and to keep my secrets safe, I personally performed jailhouse surgery on myself, removing portions of my temporal lobe. Moving forward, after my release, I was found to be totally useless. I found my lab and all of the test subjects gone. I now search for and elude some of my past subjects to correct my mistakes and search for information to connect Equinox to expose them for who they are and what they have done and continue to do. I'm currently working as an epidemiologist, obviously because I cannot work in the field of physics anymore. But I do tend to keep some of the skin samples to use in my continued experiments.
That's a great backstory. And not to break the immersion, but for the audience, the experiment that escaped, street sharks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Jawsome.
Sharknado's your fault, isn't it?
So I am the scientist.
King Shark hates Dwayne.
Yeah.
And is a shark.
But I was going to say, Dwayne, as you were talking about all of their experimentations and all the high-level biology and physics you were talking about, I just only imagined Justin being like, not knowing anything you're talking about. Yeah, I read a book about that. Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Do you have your dark secret written down or not? So
I have it written down, but I don't know what the description is. It's responsible for experiments.
Okay. You were responsible for or assisted in shady medical experiments which ended in horrifying results. Regardless of whether the subjects were willing or not, the experiments destroyed their lives, and they are now dead, missing, or transformed into something inhuman. In addition to your pangs of guilt, right, you may be pursued by your former test subjects, their relatives, the law, former colleagues, employers, or even nameless forces. What was your personal drive you chose from that?
I get a person. I don't know.
It was gather evidence to expose your former.
Oh yeah,
That's where that came from. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And now, please give us the fluff on your 2 disadvantages and your 3 advantages.
All right. So my first disadvantage is obviously experiment gone wrong. For that, it pretty much runs in with the dark secret. I carried out a scientific experiment which went horribly awry. The experiment gave rise to something unnatural, which escaped and disappeared without a trace. Recently, pretty much when I roll, I determine whether it's not following me, it's very close, or it's about to get me. And the DM can act in its stead to make my life a living hell. My second disadvantage is repressed memories. Obviously taking out parts of my brain. I have repressed an unpleasant event from my past, but the memory of it sometimes rises to the surface. DM decides the nature of the repressed memory. Rolling successfully, I keep my cool. In the middle, part of it comes out. Unsuccessful, I start to lose stability. My advantages are that I am a scientist. Imagine that. Whenever I investigate an object, I can ask additional questions. Or actually, I can choose from additional questions. What is its purpose? What properties does it have? And how do I make use of it? 2 of those give me advantages on similar types or actually using the object later. My second advantage is implanted memory or messages. When I experiment on a human, I can implant an order by rolling soul. And then when I roll, if I roll high, I gain a different level of power, and I can use that to tell them what to do. And they have to abide by it or they take damage.
Correct. Okay.
My third one, I got
Yes.
one, is arcane research. Whenever I venture into an alternate plane of existence or meet entities from other dimensions, I can declare that I have read about this and you give me flair. That's pretty much all that is.
Still useful. All right. Now we move on to the last 2 who were doing some things interactively. So Tim, you're first. Give us your backstory, but skip everything about the pact. We'll come back to that.
Oh. All right
Like
then.
describe it. Like describe that it happened, but not how it happened.
Gotcha. So I am playing Desmond Mercer, and I am once a student of religious history and relics at a prestigious school of antiquity. I took a job at a local history museum following graduation, and one day I happened to stumble upon some loose text stashed away in an old chest, kept in a dark and musty storeroom. And when I removed and opened, the words and runes inscribed on these were immediately imprinted in my mind. And I began to crave more of an understanding about them. I needed to know about them. And delving into the depths of dark and shady literary emporiums scattered throughout the city, I started to collect and notate my findings and my readings, looking for a newer grasp on what I thought was the truth. And as I carried on deeper into my newfound hobby, I began to dabble in some of the rituals that were described in detail for research purposes, when one day I actually succeeded. However, my hunger for power and knowledge, for all things spooky woo, drove me further and slightly mad. And so, because of that, the ink from all these texts and books have slipped through the pores in my skin and have started to paint my veins darker colors. But I keep going back for more and more of these intriguing novels, as we should say. Trying to get all I can for my next attempt at my tests.
Okay. Now, you forgot to mention you made a pact.
Well, I did make a pact. When I succeeded in my summoning, I blinked and skipped that sentence. I'm sorry. When I did succeed in my summoning, I spoke with someone, and they offered me knowledge and intrigued me with the ability to learn more and more, and I was consumed by that, and I made a deal with him or her.
Also, for the audience's knowledge and to tickle Steve, this particular occultist is a solid polemic. Do what thou wilt, shall be the whole of the law.
I do what I want.
Leviathan.
Yes, no. Crowley. The Lemmic.
Oh, okay.
Straight Crowley.
Alright, alright.
So, when you completed that ritual, as you know, your character is able to perform rituals, but only from exact written texts at this stage.
Yes.
You want to be a magician, but you're not there yet.
So, quite.
In order to summon an entity that has the amount of power necessary for making pacts with, it would have required human sacrifice. Tell us who you killed. Also, this means you would have had to have stalked the prey and killed them while afraid by your own hand.
It was have definitely most been my lazy ass coworker who sat in the back and watched YouTube videos and TikTok.
Tell us about it.
Oh.
Tell us about the
yes,
murder.
Yes. I'm proud of this. Well, it actually happened on a Thursday about 3:30. He was sleeping in the back room on a chair. He had his feet kicked up on a box. And I went back there and I snuck behind him with a piece of one of those zip ties. What do they call those? Panduit straps. Yes. Really, really big ones. They use them for, what's the word? Tying down things. Yes. And I snuck behind him and I managed to stick it together just because they're about 3 feet long. So I made a loop out of it and I put it around right over his head as he slept, and I went right around his neck so he couldn't scream. Yes. And when all that subsided and I was able to manage to cut off his oxygen flow, I grabbed him and we kind of snuck out the back door, and I threw him in a bag, and we kind of just dragged him off towards the little what do they call those now? Sheds. Yes, shed. That's the word. It was a little power shed in the back where they had generators and emergency backup powers and whatnot. And I had already planned out everything and made the circle and tight fit, but I made it all fit together and squeeze it all in there. And we just went ahead and walked back there and did a little bit of kicking and screaming. So, the occasional bump on a sharp rock by accident. I'm so sorry. So we just kind of made our way to the back and well, let's just say I walked in there and I opened up the bag and he stared at me in complete and utter horror. And I just looked down at him and I said, "I'm so sorry. You're such a terrible bastard of a coworker." And I went, step. And yeah, so that's how that went.
Okay, now
I just need everyone to know that I heard ever laughing in the next room, and I'm pretty sure my mic would have picked it up if it wasn't muted. The cackle from the next room.
Okay. Now, first question. Did you summon an Archon or a Death Angel? Neither are your friend.
Ooh,
Heaven or hell?
hell.
Okay. Which of these most represents your character? Power, exclusion, abuse, torment, fear, compulsion, vengeance, conflict, lust, or discord?
Now I'm torn between power and discord. I'm gonna go with power on this one.
Samiel it is. Okay. Stand by one moment.
Mm-hmm.
Scrolling past the dream reality to what we actually need here.
Scrolling past the dream reality to what we actually need here.
Thought you'd like that.
There's something kind of beautiful about that.
Samiel.
Samael?
No, Samiel is completely different.
Oh.
You did not pick him.
Oh, okay.
Thaumiel's clergy. Thaumiel's followers are also the most devoted to Astaroth. They are powerful and magnificent specimens, and their various regalia are looted from thousands upon thousands of ravaged worlds. Slaves throw themselves at their perfumed feet. Devotees submit themselves to be skinned in ecstasy, and all dream of being able to serve them. Their laws and commandments are proclaimed upon murals of gold and tarnished silver. Within the clergy, an extreme power struggle persists, and those few at the top are only there because of virulent devotion, utter ruthlessness, and powerful alliances. Many clever and ambitious acolytes have been annihilated before having even passed their initial rites. This is what the thing you would have summoned would have looked like. Won't be sharing most of this art with the audience. That one's kind of tame, but
Outstanding.
it would not have given you a name, probably just a title.
Right.
What did you ask for in exchange for your soul?
I would have asked for the
It would have
power.
worded it thusly if it matters. It would have come to you and said, "What is your wish? You get one. One wish."
Oh, yeah, that definitely matters. Because now I have to change around what I had in my head. Come on, brain, rattle faster. I would have asked, how vague can that? Does it have to be like one of those, like?
I'll tell you if it's too, if like you have to reword it. Yeah.
Okay, so it's gonna be one of those dick genies. Got it. Not like that. Like a genie who's literally says, "Oh, I want this," and you know what I mean.
He thought you said Dick Cheney. I know.
I swear I wasn't gonna like press the issue because we needed to move on, but I 1000% heard Dick Cheney.
A dick genie.
Yeah, I heard Dick Cheney as well.
Jesus Christ. You make one shotgun joke and it... Anyway, I would have worded it as I would like the power contained in all of these scrolls and books at my fingertips. I don't know if that's gonna work. Or
No.
Not too far,
That's
yeah.
super on brand. Like, this is having seen Hellraiser movies. You know.
They are at your fingertips. Wish granted. Your soul is mine.
all the books are stuck to my fingers. Well, I'm trying to think if I need to be more specific and literal, or...
All right. So, at this stage, by the way, for any viewers who are familiar with Kult, we will be combining some of the old rules with the new, because there is not a lot yet with magic, and it's a different system in Divinity Lost than it was in Kult 3rd Edition. I'll be carrying over some of the magic rules from 3rd as new moves that the magicians can make in this game. So that would probably be... You can't do that one yet. All right. Nope, you'd have to narrow it down more.
Okay. Then I would like to have the arcane powers within the knowledge of these books and scrolls and tomes to be used at my disposal when I need them through rites and rituals and incantations.
So, magicians in this game have to focus on one path at a time. You can move to other paths, but not until you decide you're done with the one you're on, simply because your mind can only handle one at a time. So would you have wanted your angel to grant you knowledge of madness, time and space, dreams, death, or passion?
Ooh. What was it? Madness, time and space, dreams?
Death and passion.
Death and passion. Let's go with death. I like that. That sounds fun.
The being would have been able to open your mind to that particular path, meaning you would be able to perform rituals written down in extreme detail for death at an easier time than others, even though you can still do others. And it also sets you on the path to become a death-tician.
Death-tician?
Magician.
Oh, death magician. Got it.
Went too far. It would also grant you your first spell, which would be a move.
Okay.
See through death. The conjurer creates a window through which he can see into another step and into the realms of the dead. He can also open portals to those places and physically enter them. It is possible for him to visit dead PCs. The window or portal also make it possible for creatures and people who are on the other side to see you and some can step through. How they react depends on who they are and how they regard things. If the spell is cast from within one of the realms of the dead, you can see into our reality and maybe return there. To do this, you will need the following things. Are you ready?
I have my shopping list. Go.
A skull. The skull must be no more than 1 month old. By that I don't mean a baby, although that's possible. I mean dead for a month.
Got it.
And you have to have acquired the skull by your own hand. You don't necessarily have to kill them, but you can't buy it from a website and have it shipped to you. You also need black incense and black candles. Your ritual chalice, which you can make up on your own.
I have a question.
Yes,
What is the girth requirements on these black candles?
quite thick.
Perfect.
Extra girthy. Got it.
Pop can. And of course your ritual space, which we'll get to later in the temple and how that works for you. You don't need a protective circle for this, because it wouldn't help anyways.
Got it.
The invocation you must speak involves the name of the death world you wish to visit and a short formula which you can, make up. You must make slow circular movements with one hand over the skull, and it takes 10 minutes to prepare. Or I'm sorry, the effect lasts 10 minutes, and it takes you 15 minutes to cast. You also need to roll plus willpower to avoid losing stability every time you cast the spell.
Alrighty. I'm glad I got some willpower then. Man, this is a step off of the normal for me. I like it.
You also get other benefits from the pact. So, at this point, now you can go ahead and tell them your dark secret.
Ooh.
And then read your 2 disadvantages and your 3 advantages with the fluff.
Got it. My dark secret, to no one's surprise, is I made a pact with dark powers. Dun dun dun. My disadvantages. My first one is involuntary medium.
Involuntary?
Yes.
Oh.
I am an open vessel for any spirit or demonic entities who desire a medium to speak through or need someone to use for their devious purposes. And whenever I encounter one of them or a haunted place, I get plus nothing to roll. If I get 15 or more, I resist the possession. 10 to 14, it gains influence over me. The GM gets 1 hold. And if I fail this with less than 9, the entity gets control over me, and the GM takes 3 hold. Let's see. And the GM can spend the hold to make moves for the being possessing me. Example would be the entity may give me a vision, and make use of my body, talk through me, or with me, try to harm someone through me, those kinds of fun things. Or completely drag me to another dimension, which will be fun. So that's the first disadvantage. And my second disadvantage is similar to, actually identical to Steve's there, which is nightmares.
So what's going to be amazing, just really quick, is when half the crew gets dragged to different dimensions.
We can't find anybody.
And we spend 4 sessions trying to just get back to each other. That'll be great.
We're trying to call each other. Nobody has service.
That would happen with or without your dark secrets.
That
That's
might
just
be
Kult.
that might just be the ending where it's like, oh yeah, they're all in different places, cut to black.
So yeah. So I have nightmares and issues when I sleep.
And what are your 3 advantages in the fluff? You don't have to read all the mechanics, just the fluff's good.
Right, got it. Let's see. My 3 advantages are occult library. Let's get back to the thing. There it is. Whenever I'm in my library researching the supernatural, I get a roll plus my reason. If I succeed with 15 or more, I get 2 questions from the list. Below 10 to 14, I get 1 from the list, and 9 or less, I can ask a question, but I've missed or overlooked something crucial, and the GM takes 1 hold that he can spend to make a hard or soft move. Would you like to know the questions, or can we skip those?
Definitely skippable. We'll hit them when they come up.
Got it. The next one was dabbler in the occult. I know a little of occult rituals, but I've never gone beyond performing written instructions. Whenever I attempt to perform a ritual from a set of instructions, I get to roll plus my soul. 15 plus, I get everything correct, and the thing goes off without a hitch. 10 to 14, I get a minor error, and the GM gets to choose a complication for me. And 9 or less, I've misunderstood the entire thing, and I perform the ritual with absolutely no control at all and no regard to anyone around me. And the result is whatever the GM makes of it. And last but not least, thirst for knowledge. Whenever I learn new information about alternate planes of existence, a supernatural entity, or a higher power, I get +1 stability.
And now, because I know at least one of you is going, boy, that pact sure seemed awful easy. Here we go. A pact is a magical covenant between a player character and a higher power. Pacts are sealed. A PC knowledgeable in magic can summon an entity for the purposes of sealing a pact with them. Regular PCs may have already entered into a pact with the Pact of Dark Powers secret. They may also meet them during the course of play, and the beings will offer them pacts in exchange for servitude or souls. The ability to seal pacts with humans is not something all entities are capable of. Generally, only the higher powers, ancient divinities, and other powerful entities such as Nephirites and angels can seal pacts. This ability is denoted in the book, in the creature section, should you be curious. Beware, the art is amazing. As a rule, some sort of ritual or other symbolic action is a necessary component of sealing the pact. This signifies the parties' mutual willingness to enter into the covenant. It is common for such actions to involve sacrifice in the form of pain or blood. You gave the heart. It also usually involves sexual communion between person or creature, or the consumption of the creature's blood or other bodily fluids. All of that for you. The entity can grant the PC power and wealth in exchange for sacrifice. The longer the pact holds together, the greater the magnitude of sacrifices the entity demands. It is not uncommon that a pact ends with you becoming enslaved to the entity, body and mind. Only know-nothing amateurs or the most desperate and power-hungry magicians voluntarily enter into pacts. Wink. You have a new move called Services.
Ooh.
Once you've sealed a pact, you can request services from the entity. Each time you do, you'll roll 2d10. 15 or higher, the debt remains the same. 10 to 14, the debt increases by 1. 9 or lower, the debt immediately goes to +5. Regardless of the outcome, you can ask for any of the following: the answer to a query, guidance to a location in another dimension, a weapon you can use against your enemy. This can also constitute a creature, knowledge, or direct interference, or the opening of a portal to one of the dimensions. When your debt balance starts at +0, it can decrease down to +0 minimum by providing the entity with human sacrifices -1 per. If the debt increases to +5, the creature will ask you to accomplish a mission. This gives you a third dramatic hook for the session, which grants no experience. In general, entities will demand offering sacrifices, hazardous undertakings, or dark perversions. The keywords I give you will include kill, kidnap, steal, destroy, sacrifice, create, sabotage, liberate, deliver, or seduce. Once accomplished, debt resets to +0. Should the mission not be accomplished by the conclusion of the next game session, the debt's reset to 0 anyways, and the hook is erased. But then you pay. I either remove one of your meaningful or vital relations, I violently take a bodily tribute, like your tongue or your eyes, and give you a serious wound. I mark you as being the servant of the creature, a wound that won't heal, part of your body rots, other fun things. Or I punish you in a way that breaks down your psyche and gain a new disadvantage, like nightmares, mental compulsion, schizophrenia, or my favorite, sexual neurosis. Packs, everyone! All right, John, last but certainly not least, tell us your story, but skipped a bit about what happened in the other place.
So...
Explain that things did happen, but not what actually happened.
Okay. I have to apologize. I am a little out of it tonight. But I'm going to do my best. And so what happened... God, I'm struggling even to figure out my character's name now. Oh, Lord. So what happened was when I started off high school, I didn't know what I was going to be. Much like everyone else, we were still figuring ourselves out at that point, figuring out what we're doing. I mean, we were just going through life as one does. After I got into college, I met a woman named Amelia, and as I was figuring out the purpose for myself, I found a counterpoint to myself and her. And I found that she not only gave me purpose, but gave me happiness. And I decided that I would do my best to be with her and to do what she needed me to do to support her, and that became my being for this world. That was my purpose at that point in time. And so afterwards, after we got done out of college, and we decided that we were going to take a tour of the world. Just as long as we had money, we were going to travel, and then when we didn't have, we had just enough money to go back home, we decided to take a trip back home and just start our lives from there. We were in the fortunate position that we did have the ability to not fly around on a jet airplane or anything like that, but definitely strap on a backpack and just walk for a while. And so that's what we did, is we walked, we hitchhiked, and we just spent a lot of time together, and it was probably the best time that I've had in a very, very long time. And then I lost her, and I'm not even sure to what or how it happened, but now she's gone, and that's where my life stands right now. And so I'm bouncing around the city, trying to spend time with you guys to try and get closer to figuring out what happened, and just find some modicum of answers.
So, for everyone else, John's character's previous wife was part of a very old and influential family. Powerful, but the name would not be well known in common circles. In the circles that Tim's character would love to be a part of, however, the name would be very well known. And she was promised as firstborn in a pact that the father made. And the father decided to back out of his pact, and he thought he'd figured out how to successfully break the pact, which is occasionally possible. He was wrong. All he did was delay the date of her transference from 16 to 21, which is when all of these things happened to John's character. I believe that's what you said, right? You were in your low 20s.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you're in your upper 20s now. John was there. John's character was there when it happened. They were on the beach, relaxing, and the next moment the world fell away and they were in Inferno. They were both dragged into Inferno, where the Nephilim placed John's character into his own personal purgatory, where he relived all of his worst memories over and over again. But in this case, the purgatory was seeing what happened to his wife in her personal torture chamber, where she was dissected, vivisected, destroyed, skinned, reformed, and allowed to go through it all over and over again because she was nothing but an object used to pay for power by her dad. John's character doesn't know how he escaped, but he did. He clawed his way back to our world from Inferno, and when he finally passed through back on this side, all memory was lost, except in his nightmares. It's all there, locked away in his head. Famous hypnotist. Going to see a famous hypnotist and being pulled from the crowd would be very bad for you. So yeah,
Excellent.
the other details that John's character doesn't know is much like in other franchises we won't specify. John clawed his way back out of the Inferno the way you do. Somebody accidentally mixed their sexual fluids on the spot that his blood was from when he was taken into Inferno, and it allowed his soul to find a way to reform in that place. And he slowly but surely reformed from fluids to bone to muscle to skin. But the only way that happened was, and he doesn't know the secret to this, it's going to be GM story. Either he or someone who found him, he talked them into bringing him sacrifices who would absorb their essence. Until he was able to reform, except for the final step, when all that was left was to put his skin back on, he had to take someone else's skin. He doesn't know that. This is not his original body. At least the outer shell. And the Nephirites will come for him. No one escapes. Tell us your dark secret, the fluff on your 2 disadvantages and your 3 advantages.
Gonna be amazing. So my dark secret is return from the other side. Obviously, I returned from Inferno. Let's see what am I over to? Because I have the memory of a goldfish. I have Oath of Revenge, which is I have sworn to avenge an unforgivable justice. I mean, I'm gonna go out on a limb here and say torturing my wife.
Oh no. What you do know is that she was taken from you because of things her father did. The revenge is on the father, but he's a powerful man and he's protected.
Okay, the father then.
You can't get revenge on all of the Nephirites in hell.
But you can try.
I could try. Target. So, people sure to train and associated with plus 15 I remain control my vengeful nature and can act rationally. 10 to 14 I get to I can't focus on anything other than the target of vengeance. I take -1 ongoing until the target's involvement in the scene ends, or -9. As you might expect, you become obsessed and can only further your revenge in the said scene. Doing anything else literally requires another roll called Keep It Together. Yeah.
You can skip that part, yep. You can just tell us the fluff on the other one so you don't have to worry about the rolls.
Alrighty, and then so the next one, Stalker. I am hunted by a faceless enemy. Anyone I meet could be one of their minions, or even the Stalker themselves. No one can be trusted. You constantly change your address and be vigilant at all times to avoid learning any tracks they can follow, or leaving any tracks they can follow. In the first game session, whether you expose your current location, roll +0. At a +15, you're safe. 10 to 14, enemies know you're there. GM gets a hold. At a -9, your enemies have caught up to you. The GM gets 3 holds. GM can spend a hold to make a move for my pursuers. So that is my disadvantages. So moving on to advantages. I have Instinct. Whenever I take the observed situation and act on the GM's answers, I take a +2 instead of a +1. That's it. Rage. This is a fun one. When in combat, you may awaken to your inner rage. You lose stability -1 and mark 1 rage. Every time you get a 1, increase rage by +1. Rage lasts until the end of combat. During this combat, which I'm assuming means every turn, I think.
Yep, until the scene's over.
You may spend exactly 1 rage to do one of 3 things. Brutal assault. You take +1 harm to your attack. Ignore the pain. +2 to endure injury. Say that 3 times fast. I can't. And Lost in Frenzy. Shake off or ignore any psychological or supernatural influence. I'm okay with that last bit because my charisma's a little slow. And then for the very last here, we are doing Eye for an Eye. Whenever I suffer a critical injury, name the person I feel is responsible. Not who is actually at fault, but the person I feel in my heart to be responsible. This is important. I get a +2 ongoing to all rolls against them forever. All rolls targeting the person count. Hold on 1 second.
Sometimes small child is an advantage. Sometimes small child is. Twitch thing.
We bumped our head.
Yeah, network error.
Yeah, there it is.
Network
You're
error.
good.
Please try again. Error number 3000.
You're good.
Yep. We're back.
That was not used. Okay, carry on, John.
All right, so for our very last, we are going to do Eye for an Eye. Whenever I suffer a critical injury, name the person I feel is responsible. Again, not the person actually responsible, the person I feel responsible. I get a +2 ongoing to all rolls against them. Not until the end of the scene. Forever.
Correct.
All rolls targeting that person count. The rolls targeting the person's family, friends, minions, and property only count if the GM says they count.
Which they will. Right. So for the final rundown, we have Steve's character. What's your name?
Justin.
Steve's character, Justin, is the academic. We have Dwayne's character. What's your name?
Dr. Lucian Nelson.
Dr. Nelson is the scientist. We have Tim's character. What's your name?
Name. Desmond. Yes, Desmond.
Desmond is the occultist. We have Ever's character. What's your name? Keaton.
Bennett Reed.
Bennett is the broken. And we have John's character. What's your name?
You just asked me this? Oh. I was looking it up. I am so sorry.
Jack.
I am very tired.
Do you want me to tell you?
Yeah, Jake.
Yeah,
Jack Zaleski.
Zaleski. Goddamn.
And Mr. Zaleski is the Avenger. For the party's knowledge, Mr. Zaleski is the one to he's the one you have lead the way when it's violence. So, again, figured that out. Now we're going to move on for the people watching, because when we begin, these characters will have known each other for 3 or 4 years. So we're going to do a quick couple little fun things so that they can get their characters to know each other, so they feel more comfortable as if they're old friends in character, not just in real life. So, we're going to do, in a role-playing fashion, some of those awesome corporate icebreakers. So we're going to start with Steve's character. Steven, tell us what your weirdest day was.
My weirdest day. I remember a time I was still at college and was going around campus, just trying to meet new people, see if I could get information. They were always good at connecting to people and seeing if I can understand, where they're coming from. And there was just somebody I just really couldn't I couldn't read them. Didn't have any idea. It was nice. It was weird not being able to see what someone's gone through, and just connected with them for the best time. And I don't know, they were just kind of an empty vessel. Had a really great day hanging out with them though, but just the first time I couldn't figure someone out. Turns out though, they're in the philosophy department, learning different stuff. Seemed to have some sort of I don't know, just a different way of thinking about things. Got me looking at some other stuff, reading some new books. I read a book on philosophy, so I pretty much knew what they did too. That was pretty interesting. And I think they got hit by a bus or something the next week. I don't know, something happened.
Thank you, Justin. And for the rest of you, remember at this stage, from this point on, anything you tell us is character knowledge, not just player. So if there's things you don't want each other's characters to know from your backgrounds, don't say it. All right. Bennett, what's your weirdest day?
My weirdest day is meeting all of you people.
Tell us about that day if that's what you want it to be.
It was a little more tongue-in-cheek, but I mean, nah, the weirdest day was, I think I ran into someone from my past, and, well, I won't go into detail about that, but it was really, really weird. I think they recognized me, but apparently not, because no one like tracked me. I said too much. Just suffice it to say that it was just a really awkward moment, and that was a weird day for me.
Mercer.
Tongue in cheek. I have those. I have tongues in cheeks. I have tongues in cheeks in jars under my bed. Damn it! Now I have to move them. But anyhow, my weirdest day. The weirdest day. The weirdest day would definitely be the day that I did all the spooky woo stuff, and I went and I created an opening for HR.
So by the way, this brings up a good point. In character, the reason you all keep his character around is because he's like your crazy friend who does way too many drugs and he's hilarious at parties. Next, of course, we have the good doctor.
Oh, is that me?
Yes, Dr. Nelson.
Well, because I always get confused between me and Steve.
Steve is not actually a doctor. He's an armchair academic.
Yeah. So my weirdest day. So my weirdest day. So I was working on this phase array, right? It was my own design, obviously. When it seemed that I had made like a long distance sort of phone call, and the entity on the other side kept asking me why I had contacted him and if I wanted to purchase items by giving souls. It was very strange.
Last but not least, Jack. Mr. Zaleski, that's you, John.
Oh, I'm not muted this time. Cool. So my weirdest day, I'm having a hard time even finding much weirder than what I do just right now on a daily basis. But there was definitely a time in my life where I ate some shrooms and then I just went on a trip, and we stayed like that for an entire day. We just chilled out and hung out, and it was fucking weird and amazing and quite a bonding experience. I highly recommend it.
Justin, your funniest day.
Well, I just... I'm gonna say this, and I know it's gonna sound a little bit odd, but you would have had to have been there. So, someone I dated before in the past happened to catch a glimpse of me on the street, and let's just say we didn't end things well, me and him. So, he sees me across the street, and he just got so angry. Just crying, breaking down, other side of the street, screaming all sorts of things at me. Everyone's turning and looking at him, and he's just breaking down, and I'm just like, you know when you have that awkward moment when you just kind of have to laugh because you're not quite sure what else to do? Well, then I'm just on the other side of the street just laughing maniacally. So you've got him on the other side screaming, breaking down, me laughing maniacally. Had to have been quite a scene. And, I don't know. I left him there, other side of the street, crying, people trying to console him. I'm not sure what happened, but I had a pretty good laugh that day. I can't remember his name now.
Benny.
Funny. I don't really have many of those. I mean, I guess every day with our crazy sorcerer friend is pretty funny. At least it's the most I've laughed since I can never remember, actually. So there's that.
Mercer.
Funny day. Ooh, the funniest day. The funniest day was when I actually walked out and I saw my old high school bully walking down the street, and then he got his absolute ass kicked by a group of elementary kid students. They just came up and they just started wailing on him with sticks, pitchforks, and wait, maybe not pitchforks. What am I thinking of? No, not pitchforks. It was sticks and bags and books and lunch boxes, and someone threw an orange at his face. It was amazing.
Doctor.
Funniest day. I would have to say there was one of the stops that we made. There was a group of children who were playing tag, and me and my fiance at the point, we just decided to join in, and we spent from dawn till dusk just out there running around and playing tag. I know it's weird, but it was the most fun I've had in a minute.
And of course you, Nelson.
Okay. So
Did I just
You're fine.
my bad.
It's all right.
I thought I was going after. I apologize.
It's all right.
Brain's
It's all right.
mush.
All in good time. So my funniest day was the day that Chelsea threw me a birthday party. And honestly, I haven't had a birthday party for as long as I could remember. Anyways, I totally forgot that it was my birthday this year. And we had just started a new experiment, and I thought we were celebrating the latest embryo's birthday. So I just started singing to it, and put a little hat on the petri dish. But everybody was looking at me weird. I was like, these kidders. They're like, I know what I'm doing.
Was there cake?
There was cupcakes.
Delicious.
Okay. Clarence, your worst day.
This one was kind of a rough one for me. Absolute worst day. Well, I was seeing somebody. She was staying over, and we got to talking, and I guess I must have touched on a sore subject with her, and well, she wasn't well, unfortunately, and I was there and saw her commit suicide right in my apartment, right there in my living room, in my couch, and I talked about that a few times. It was a very rough day, because the cleaning bill, dealing with the police.
There it is.
Did you save anything?
I had tickets to a game that night I couldn't attend. Just the whole day was ruined.
Don't forget the paperwork.
Yes,
Why
of
did
course.
you
That's
call
why
me?
I had to deal with the police all day long. Give my
This loss is
statement multiple times over.
This loss is immeasurable and my day is ruined.
I think her name might have been Elizabeth or possibly Patricia.
Benny.
Worst day. Probably the day that I died.
Oh.
Yeah.
But you
I
got
mean,
better.
because. Yeah, I got better. You're right.
Irrefutable facts. Just spitting truth.
Yeah, no, this guy over here, he's just like a ham or something. I don't know. But, like, yeah, the day that I died. I mean, you know, because.
Question is, what do they know about that? How much have you divulged?
Not a thing. Just
So you
that
just
I
tell
died.
them you died and you never answer any questions about it.
See, you died. You got
This will
better.
make
See?
for some good
Perfect.
role-playing scenes.
That's fair. I imagine that it couldn't get worse than that.
I mean, like, so you expect something awesome, and then I don't know. And then you just wake up.
Mercer.
Oh, my worst day. Well, it all started back about, what, Tuesday? Thursday? I don't remember. Last month? No, really, yes, no. But anyhow, it all happened when I went to the library and I was reading an online, what are those things called? Blogger? Blogs? Is that what it is? Blog? Right, one of those things. I think Reddit, maybe? I don't know. But it was an occult thingy, and it was awesome. It was great. Pictures and everything was fantastic. But I read that, and I spent about the day in the library reading that. And then I walked home, and I was walking home, and it was all fine and dandy. It was a great day. And I get to my house, and it was gone. It was like a giant melon bowler in the sky came down and sucked the whole thing out. Just a hole.
I love the reactions. All right, Doctor.
I find it interesting how me and Steve both turned our head the same way at the same time.
Saw that.
It's a smart guy thing. That's what smart people do.
Exactly. Us similarly learned men.
My worst day.
Indeed, you are a man of culture, are you not?
Yes. My worst day was going to Chelsea's funeral.
Oh.
I was obviously very uneasy, as I had no idea what I was going to say to her mother. And no matter the amount of consoling that I tried to convey, my sympathies, she just kept telling me that it was all my fault. That I was the reason that Chelsea wasn't alive. I tried to explain to her what I saw, but then she said that Equinox had explained everything and that I was the reason that the animal cages weren't secure. But I wasn't sure what she meant by animal cages. We didn't have any animal subjects, so it was confusing. But the loss of Chelsea just, yeah.
Jack.
The day I woke up and I was alone. Just sitting on a beach, the waves kind of lapping at the shore, and just no one and nothing for a good long time.
Suck the energy right out of the room. Very well done, John. I applaud. Justin.
Yes.
What's your life motto?
Oh, I may have forgotten this one. Actually, that's my life motto. I may have forgotten this one.
That's actually accurate. Benny.
Life sucks and then you die.
Please tell me
Yes.
I'm being too loud.
Can you come back?
And then you get better.
I
God
don't think
damn
that's
it.
part of the. I don't think that's part of his life motto, Mercer. But what's yours?
Mine is what doesn't kill me has yummy, juicy power for me to have.
Fair, Doctor.
Like an Oreo.
Let's see. My best motto is probably every science begins as philosophy, but that it ends as art.
Bravo. Weird gross art. Jack.
Stop. Wait. No. Fuck that guy in particular.
All right.
Wait, what?
Now we're gonna have you do just 5 things. All of you need to come up with 5 things you have in common as a group of friends. They can't be simple things that everyone has in common. So each of you, I'll go around and list names. You'll throw something out, and everyone can say, yeah, I'm either cool with that, or I guess that's okay. But if you don't like the thing, say you don't like the thing, and remember you're a character still, not actual you. All right, we of course begin with Justin.
Can I get like an actual example of what something like this might be?
Horror movies, books, Italian dining, Broadway shows, running on the beach.
Okay.
Oh, so this is like our eHarmony profile?
Right, yeah.
Okay. Well, obviously I'm a educated man, so academic books.
Is there anyone here who doesn't like academic books? That could mean any kind of academic book, so like a history book or even an art book is academic.
I love books.
I like books that tell me the things that I need them to know.
So Benny, you don't like any kind of academic reading?
I don't have time to waste on boring shit. So, like, I'd rather be out at a park.
I like
Books are out. Benny, give us one. Well, academic books are out. Benny, give us one.
I live on stimulants, like coffee. Cause fucking waiter.
Stimulants. Anybody don't like stimulants? Legal or illegal?
coffee.
No, stimulants are great.
There's a reason I worded it the way that I did.
+1. Okay. Moving on to the doctor. Or I'm sorry, moving on to Mercer. Give us one.
Out of character, real quick. We've all known each other for how long?
3 to 4 years.
3 to 4 years. Okay.
That's why you need at least 5 things in common, yes.
We all have eccentric taste in clothing.
Eccentric clothing taste. Which could also mean you just don't like dressing the fashion of the day, which I will specify. We're going to get into this in a minute. But a lot of things in your world are stuck in the late 90s, even though it's not the late 90s. It's a nebulous time period to make the game mysterious. However, grunge is in fashion, and so is raves. And also, you know, it's terrible late 90s fashions.
There's a Dwayne face.
So if you're not into any,
you said grunge and
so basically, if you're not into
Braves?
grunge, rave clothes, and late 90s
raves.
fashion, then you prefer eccentric clothing in this example.
I mean,
I am for that because I only wear my lab coat.
And nothing else.
and I only wear the expensivest of designer shirts, jackets, suits.
Even if they're really weird.
I mean,
You like constantly have on
Like
a
if
smoking
green,
jacket.
like if the thing that's hip for the season is a green vest with pink fur. You'd wear it because it's in season for the it's in hype for the season.
Um,
Or do you only wear what you like that's in fashion?
I had imagined him as being very classically like well dressed.
Eccentric clothing is out. Doctor,
Damn.
give us one.
We're gonna be here a while.
Oh yes.
Not necessarily.
So now keep an open mind, friends. I am a tinkerer, a builder if you wish. I like to invent small things. Whether it be an embryo, or a clock, or a toaster oven.
Crafts. Anyone who doesn't like crafts or inventing.
I think I like crafts.
Would-
I did a thing with wood once. Woodworking? Yeah.
That's
Counts.
Yeah.
Would do a summoning circle be a craft?
Yes.
Wait, or is it craft?
You're making stuff.
Yeah, making stuff is the key here. What about you two who haven't said anything?
I am fine with crafts. I do enjoy I do enjoy some amount of woodworking. Plus, I'm just a gigantic nerd. So, if you ever need any Boy Scout bracelets made, I'm your guy.
Justin, I'm going to say this, Justin, out of character, as in the rest of your characters wouldn't hear this. Justin, you're into crafts. It's just your craft is really fucked up.
Right.
So, yes, 2 is crafts.
Yay!
Yay!
Jack, give us one.
If stimulants and crafts. Oh shit! I'm pushing buttons.
Being well, this is I'm not trying not to be too narrow, but relaxing. Call it relaxing. Just taking half a second out of a day to enjoy oneself.
Self-care. Is there anyone who doesn't
Only-
care about self-care?
I only really do it because of my therapist, but I mean, I can't say that I hate it.
I don't shower often because I'm into my work.
Does your
Self-care's
work
out.
bring you joy?
I was out real quick.
I thought that might happen. And now the GM throws one at you. The cinema.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Is this 90s cinema?
No, modern movies would exist. We'll get into that too.
But is it strictly movies, or is it also all forms of, say, theater?
All
as
form
well?
of cinema that involves moving reels. You could even be classic
okay.
movies, old-timey stuff, doesn't matter. You enjoy
Okay.
cinema in some form.
Yes.
Okay.
The doctor says yes.
Well, I do
What about-
prefer the immersive experience of the theater. A movie is perfectly fine sometimes.
I can enjoy a movie.
Cinema. And since it came up from Justin, unless you have a different one, Justin, theater
That was
and
gonna
or
be mine.
and or opera.
I don't.
Oh yeah. Have you seen
Get
that? Yeah,
it?
they're bloody and step,
But-
step, 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 step. And there's just sacrifices everywhere.
I don't get it, but I like, Shakespeare in the Park. It's cool.
Doctor and Jack.
I saw a high school rendition of Hamlet at one point in time.
But
Did you
didn't
enjoy
like
it?
Eh?
So, if the answer is
Sure.
no, just say no. It's fine. Because what'll happen is this becomes part of your character, and they've taken you to other shows since then in the last 3 or 4 years as a group.
I will say I did not enjoy it.
We're gonna say that's out.
Damn it.
Okay, that's fine.
No theater.
Benny,
I like a really good pastry.
foodies. Now you can't just say I like eating. You have to really, really have a passion for a specific food. It doesn't have to be pastries though. Just
Oh yeah, like
that's
in
what Benny's.
specific like French pastries are kind of my thing.
Yeah. So
Like a-
if you
like a-
have a
like a nice
food
biscotti.
passion, If you have a food passion, it counts.
Each one of us can have our own separate food passion, though, right?
Right.
Okay.
But you could have shared them as friends. It's still
Sure,
a thing
sure.
that binds people.
Yeah.
Food passion, yes.
Does coffee count as a food?
You already covered that with stimulants. It has to be
Oh, okay.
consumable food, not a liquid.
Ah,
But
okay,
it is
solid.
something
Could
that
be
you can
semi-liquid.
share, something that you could share with your coffee,
Ooh,
like a nice baguette. I don't know why
Yeah.
you have a baguette with your
Dang
coffee.
it, why would
but-
you have a baguette with coffee? What? Is wrong? What kind- what?
If your character
way.
just doesn't care about food, though, say no.
Freshly made donuts and cider. That's my jam.
Counts.
I really
Obviously,
like rye bread because I make my own yeast.
obviously, I enjoy dining at the finest of restaurants and eating at the newest Michelin-starred eatery. So yes.
Put foodies ever, or however you want to word that.
We are still
And-
going to large margins after this.
Mercer. One more to go.
I would say that we have an appreciation for the martial arts, as it were. Not necessarily kung fu. Maybe that's not the right word I'm looking for.
Physical fitness in the Eastern style.
Yes.
Physical fitness in the Eastern style. We'll see if that makes it around. Could be any form of Eastern physical fitness, including Feng Shui and I can't even think of all the words right now.
Yoga.
Right.
All
Near East, too far east.
Not in particular.
Okay.
right, never mind.
that's it.
Doctor.
Oh, back to me. I would say that we all, in our own way, have an appreciation of death.
Fascination or obsession? Yes, or appreciation, I guess.
Dead? Somebody died? Who died?
I think
We'll
that's
see
an
if that
adamant
makes it
yes
past
for you.
Justin is the question. 4 of you,
Hey.
that's easy, but Justin.
Oh,
I
yeah.
actually am trying to avoid death.
Again.
we don't
again.
know
Don't forget
that.
the again. Wait.
I mean, I
Double
can.
Jeopardy?
I'll say it right now. No.
Okay. Sorry, I
And
forgot we
Jack.
don't know that.
An appreciation for working with one's body, with trying to build something up. Like it not
Fitness?
not necessarily fitness, just
Like on a street corner, kind of
A
working with my body.
a pleasure of a just pleasure of doing something, of being productive, I suppose.
I feel like he's trying to say physical activities.
Like we're busybodies. We don't like to be stagnant.
Not all the time, but yes.
Are you
Like,
referring to physically, like you like to run and jog and do things with your body, even if it's not for fitness, or do you mean you're workaholics?
like not, I don't know, just a general pleasure of working, but not
Yeah.
like completely 100% all the time. Just you can appreciate it.
See if that makes it past the rich boy and Benny.
I'm still a little.
I'm actually quite confused about what we're going for here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have an idea.
You enjoy labor.
I really hate my job.
Okay.
So.
Done. Got it. But I am going to say the one that I thought he meant in the beginning. Also, you're muted, Tim.
I'm muted?
You were, well, you looked like you were talking. Your mouth was
No,
moving.
I was. Yeah, my mouth was moving because my brain was moving.
Knowing you, Tyler, is probably closer to what I can actually use. with
Well,
my
actually,
own
no.
mouth.
I'm going to say the easy one. Fitness. Whether you enjoy it because you enjoy the sensation or you enjoy it because it prolongs your life. Or it gets you laid. Enjoying being fit because none of your characters were described as overweight and sedentary.
Life
But-
prolonging, yeah.
Sure,
Fitness.
go for
It
that.
could also be mental fitness. Actively maintaining the fitness of body or mind.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I got sunken eyeballs, but because I don't really get out much.
Yeah, I'm sure Nelson does it in his own way.
Justin,
Oh, yes, of course. The physical appearance is very important to meeting new people.
Jack, since you enjoy manual labor, was what you were saying, you probably, yes. But you can say no if you want.
Yeah. Oh, yes. Sorry.
That's 5.
And I had one more.
Go ahead and say it.
Games.
Sure.
How did nobody say that?
Video games, board games, games with people, sure.
Card
Make
games.
it on the list if you all agree.
For expanding that last one, sure.
Yeah.
All right.
That would be a mental game. Like chess or absorbing
Yeah.
agony. You know.
All kinds of fun games.
What about, the question is, what about Benny? Does Benny enjoy relaxing with any kind of game?
I don't really see a point in games. I mean,
Even crossword puzzles and Sudoku?
Not even Cards Against Humanity.
Oh my God. Please tell me where the hood to Cards Against Humanity.
Poker?
actually, I crossword, I guess. I don't. What's
You don't have to
poker?
put it in. You don't have to put it in the list, but yeah, that would have carried.
Oh,
It would have barely carried, but it would have carried. Okay. Next, we move on to the 2 fun ones. What we're gonna do? Oh my goodness.
Take
is,
Tabasco. Drink a shot.
we're gonna play Would You Rather, where each of you are gonna roll 1d100 one time. I will look on my list of 100 Would You Rather questions, and we'll ask the group, and you'll all answer just so you know from each other. This isn't about agreement. This is just about knowing each other. Starting with Justin, roll a 1d100, and Ever, please calculate all 5 rolls and put them in Discord when everyone's done. You can all go in order.
Oh, that doesn't work here.
It's exclamation point.
Just exclamation point D100.
It's exclamation point, parenthesis, 1d100, close parenthesis.
2.
I think.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I got it.
I rolled a 36.
$41.
Exclamation
I got a
point
50.
one.
Exclamation mark, open parenthesis, 1d100, close parenthesis.
if you hit the if you hit the D10 and just put a 0 after the 10,
Yeah.
just hit enter.
That would have been a thing to do.
51.
All right.
Copy.
In
I'll let
case
you
anyone
send
missed
me
it, Tim got a 50.
I got it.
Nice.
Yeah, they
Oh,
two
they were
talking
all-
at once. I just wanted to make sure it was heard for
Got
the
it.
podcast version. 2, would you rather have more time or more money? Justin.
Ooh. I have plenty of money. More time, please.
Benny.
Like you have to ask. More time.
Mercer.
Time. I need all the time. Time.
Doctor.
Time to do all.
More money.
Jack.
Time.
Would you rather get rich through hard work or winning the lottery? And in your case, Justin, richer. Add another 0.
I would rather win the lottery.
Benny.
Well, considering, it's kind of fucked up how this whole society is based on money. I'd really rather have, win the lottery so I could actually do things with my life.
Mercer.
I would much rather win the lottery because I don't have time to work because I've researched it.
Doctor.
I would rather work for it to have my name on it.
Jack.
I would rather work for it because I don't want to pay the taxes that come with the lottery. I would rather write all my taxes off and keep the money.
41. Whoever rolled that is an awesome one.
Yay.
Would you rather have Rambo or the Terminator on your side?
Oh.
Justin.
Hmm.
Interesting to see how this goes in character.
Rambo.
Benny.
Considering none of them can help me stave off death, neither. But if
They could if someone was trying to actively shoot you. In that case, which of them?
Terminator, obviously.
Mercer.
I would have to take Rambo because I can reuse his body.
Doctor.
The combining of two different types of things into one thing.
There it is.
The Terminator, obviously.
Jack.
I need the Terminator on my side for no other reason than he can quip so much harder than Sylvester Stallone. Get to the chopper.
Would you rather spend the day with your favorite author or your favorite movie star? Justin, you've probably done both. Which was better?
The author.
Benny.
Movie star.
Mercer.
My favorite author because it has this scroll.
Doctor.
Which would be my favorite author.
Jack.
The movie star always has more money, so I'm gonna go with the movie star, and then he can actually afford to buy me a meal. Cause fuck, I ain't paying for that shit.
And last but not least, would you rather, interesting, live where it's constantly winter or constantly summer? Justin.
Would you rather be in Florida or Michigan?
Yeah, which is very timely, I should mention, very on point.
Well, I tend to gravitate towards tropical climates where it's nice. There's a certain aura in the air in winter. I'd like it to always be winter.
Good choice.
Benny.
Neither. I'd actually prefer, like late spring, but I like my iced coffee but I like my scarves.
You can get iced coffee in the winter. You can't wear scarves in the summer without discomfort.
Yeah, but everything's dead in the winter.
True. And where you live, it's snow.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to go with the summertime.
Doctor.
Well, as much as I love going to the beach just like anyone else, my experiments tend to survive a little bit longer in cold climates. So, I'm gonna go with the winter.
Jack.
I'm gonna go with the winter for every reason that everyone should always be thinking about is how much clothes can you put on, and how much clothes can you take off? So I can always put another jacket on, but I can't. I can only get down to my skivvies so many times before the police get called.
Okay.
Oh,
Last but not least, one final game, and
I
then.
didn't go.
Oh, what? We skip Mercer? Go!
Uh-oh.
Oh, definitely the winter time because I have
How'd I do
natural.
that?
I have natural. What are they called? Body coolers when it snows. I can put bodies in the snow. Giant walk-in cooler for free.
Valid.
There we go.
One final game, and then instead of jumping into the scenario tonight, we'll describe the setting, and you can start thinking about something I'll need to know for next session.
Oh.
However,
Brain bits.
we're gonna do one more quick round. This time of Never Have I Ever. Only this time it's 1d200. And for those of you who want, copy paste that. Nope, don't copy paste that. I put the wrong bracket at the end. Now you can copy paste it. All right, roll them and then say them out loud, and then everyone collate.
'89.
You gotta use parentheses, Steve, not brackets.
Yep. Six.
You're rolling great on these.
I am.
145.
Nice. 4. Nice.
Wow.
And that leaves you, Ever.
One.
Nice.
I mean, 111. That's yeah.
nice.
That makes 3.
Quick math.
Okay, I believe the first number was a 4. So, never have I ever cheated on any kind of test. Justin. And you must answer truthfully, because we'll pretend that these things were said at some point when you were drunk. It's never have I ever.
I'm drinking for that one.
Ah, I see what he's doing. That's a yes. Got it. Benny.
I've never taken a test, so
Actually, every time you go to therapy, almost every time you go to therapy, they make you take the "How am I feeling this week" test with all the dumb questions. Do you lie on that
And
sometimes?
the smiley faces on it.
Yeah, the smiley face thing.
sometimes. Not all the time, but sometimes.
Mercer.
I don't lie on tests.
Nice. Doctor. I'm sure it's a no. Oh, wow, look at that. Jack.
Sometimes you gotta fudge results.
What's
Jack.
that little dot out there? That's called an outlier. You get the fuck out of there because it's ruining my curve. Oh, me? Okay. Yes, I have.
Never have I ever overdrafted my bank. We don't need to do Justin because we know that's a no. Benny?
All the fucking time.
Mm-hmm. Mercer?
A bank? What's a bank?
So that's a yes. Mercer's poor as shit is what you're saying.
He
I use
keeps.
cash.
I was gonna say he's got gold
You gotta
bars.
get the cash. You gotta get the cash somewhere. You're not a trust fund, baby. You have a job.
Yes.
Okay, Doctor.
No, I have never overdrafted.
Jack.
Yes.
Only after the wife, though, I'm sure. Okay.
Yes. She kept all those things in check.
Never have I ever been in a talent show. Justin.
No.
Benny. And remember, this could be one of those forced, fucked up things they made you do. It's up to you. The players wouldn't know that. They would just know you said yes.
Yes.
Mercer.
Yes, and then I was promptly forbidden to return to that gymnasium ever again.
Doctor.
Yes.
And Jack.
Yes.
Never ever have I ever had surgery. Justin. Benny.
Well, I mean, like, yeah, I have had
Mercer.
surgery.
I perform surgeries.
Have you had surgery?
Oh.
It could be a no if you've never had gallbladder, tonsillitis, something like that.
I don't think so.
Okay.
Lobotomy.
Yeah.
I have to check.
Self-performed lobotomy. Doctor, that's a yes. Go ahead.
He's like, ah!
Jack.
I can't
He
remember.
grabs the whole bottle.
Yes, I had Osgood slaughter disease.
And last but not least, ooh, getting serious on the end. Never have I ever wished I had children. Justin,
Never have I ever wished I had
you've
children.
never wished you had children. Benny,
Fuck that. Have you seen this world? It's crazy shit.
Mercer,
My God, yes, they can go in little places and they can get things and then they can come back and then you can use them for parts.
Jack. So, Doctor,
Wait, are these
we're gonna
children
pretend.
that I fought or
What?
produced on my own? Are these children that are mine?
Yes,
Yes.
Oh, wait, like sired children, not like random ones I found on the street?
sired children or
Oh.
adopted legally.
Then no.
Doctor, your creations don't count for this question.
No, I wasn't gonna. I didn't think so. But the answer would be
You have wished or you have not.
I have not wished for children.
No drinking required. Jack,
Yes.
you have wished for children.
Yeah.
Not making faces at you, sorry. My
Why are you picking on me, Tyler?
my copy of the stream suddenly went to the download has been canceled, and I'm like, I'm not downloading anything? Okay. In preparation for the next session, when we will jump immediately into the story, I'm going to give you the setting, the layout of your actual world setting, what's going to be your first event, and then tell you what I'm going to need. You can work together or separately on this. So, we will be playing for the audience through some of the existing adventures for Kult Divinity Lost, along with our modern reimagining of the classic Kult module, the Judas Grail, and some of my very own unique scenarios. So we will be working up to the Judas Grail. Got to make you care about important people first. You all live in or within 45 minutes of the city. The year is nebulous as we are fostering an air of mystery and obscurity about Elysium. Elysium is the world, the lie. The city is huge and built on the coast and divided into districts. It is often wet and nearly always overcast. Time will pass in this game, sometime months, possibly even years, but you can assume, unless I specifically say otherwise, no matter how much time has passed, it's always chilly and windy, like late fall in a northern state. Technology is at a late 90s, early aughts level with some strange, innocuous aberrations. Examples. Electric cars are not a thing, nor is built-in GPS navigation. But smartphones exist at the late aughts level. High-speed internet exists, and the internet is all that it is in our day with all of its horrors. But large areas still have dial-up or limited internet and rely on books. Payphones still exist, and cell signal can be wildly erratic even in cities. Raves and grunge are still a thing. The majority of music you hear is innocuous canned shit, or your choice of techno, electro, rock, heavy metal, industrial, and gothic. Video games are as prevalent as they are now. PlayStation is still king, Xbox has not made its appearance. But the games are as advanced as they are now. As far as quality, they are much more addictive and violent, however. The president is a female and is a Democrat at this time. Universal healthcare exists, but the system is in its early stages and cumbersome. You can pay cash for quick treatments that are less than legal if you know where to look. Chipped cards and identity theft are a thing as rampant as now. We won't really be discussing specific shows, movies, or books. Instead, when those come up, you can discuss by genre instead of title author. Does anyone have any immediate questions about the setting and how the world works that we can answer to help you immerse in the next session?
Nope, I'm good.
How much of it of the city is downtown district, and how much of it is like suburbs?
It has 6 districts. Only one is downtown. None are suburbs. If you choose the suburbs, you fall into that you live 45 minutes from the city category. That would be known as the greater city area. There is housing in the city, of course, still.
Right. Okay.
Similar to New York.
Okay. Fair. The boroughs. Got it.
Okay. When the scenario begins, you will all be planning to go to a very prestigious, invitation-only, once-in-a-lifetime artistic event. You've all been invited for different reasons, which I'll get into in a moment. It's a midnight showing. You're supposed to arrive at 9 or 10 for the pre-party, and then the unveiling. It's the first and only time a world-famous author has done this. Renowned for his naturalistic technique, Guy Vauquelin blurred the boundaries between nightmare and reality until his suicide. His notorious paintings are scattered across the globe, secreted away in private collections and galleries for more than 30 years. Praised and reviled for its nihilistic beauty, Vauquelin's Triumph de la Mort, also known as the Atrocity Exhibition, has never been assembled in its entirety outside of his catalogue raison until now. Sparing no expense, Marielle Dubois, a wealthy mondaine, arranges for the complete collection to be presented at the Cecil Thorne Art Gallery. The Atrocity Expedition's midnight viewing will undoubtedly draw a wide variety of socialites, art historians, and the morbidly curious, all eager to see the debauched artist's masterworks. You will be attending. Ever, please introduce us briefly to your primary NPC that you will be portraying in the game, our Spanish seductress.
In character?
If you want, either way. If you've had time to practice, go ahead and do it in character. If not, you can just do a description.
I've been in Bennett Mind so much I can't really think of it right now, but
That's
this
fine.
character is hails from Spain. She has a very thick Spanish accent and is extremely flirtatious. Chances are, if you have legs, no, even if you don't have legs, chances are if you have sexual drive, she'll hit on you. She's really carefree. Get out. Chances are, not chances are, I already said that, sorry. She's really carefree. She's really like happy-go-lucky. She's really peppy and punky and punky. Peppy, perky, funky words are a thing that do not agree with my mouth. And
Not at 1 or midnight.
right? Yeah, she's just the life of the party kind of gal, and she's a people person, very much the opposite of Bennett. And she's an NPC, so I am just voicing her and trying to paint a picture of her personality for all of us.
And I'll be
here.
controlling the actions. This
Right.
NPC has been your friend as long as the rest of you have and is the glue of your circle. It's through her you all met. You've all fucked this girl. She's very promiscuous.
Her name was Dubois.
No, that's the person putting on the exhibition.
Oh, okay. Well, what's this person's name?
I gotta scroll.
You asked that one question, Dwayne.
Well, I didn't want to get it confused.
No,
on a
yeah.
side note about her, did it burn?
Wasn't good if it didn't burn.
No,
Okay.
she's not disease laden.
My goodness, where is this? Ah!
A valid question in this game.
I am not finding where you sent this to me.
It's okay. Well, I mean, as long as we can get it for next time. But
Yeah,
now
next
that I
time
know
you'll
that it's
get-
not the same person that set it up, and that's good.
Next time you'll get the art and the name. It's fine, ever. You're good.
Okay. Yeah, because I
And this will amuse you because of the opposites. She has begged you to go with her to the show, and you accepted reluctantly. Why? Because you're currently fucking her. It's up to you why, but you are. Maybe it's just her personality. You don't like saying no because you're broken, and that's gross, but that's you. Maybe she makes you feel less gross because she's so peppy and happy. Maybe for 10 minutes, the little death is better than thinking about the big death. Whatever the reason, you're currently fucking. Doesn't have to be love. Probably isn't.
definitely not.
Justin, Marielle Dubois herself has invited you as a socialite in the city. You move within the same circles and actually know her and her husband.
Okay.
Mercer, you've gotten yourself an invitation through bad places on the internet because you just need this. You just need to see this art. This whole thing is fascinating. It's a masterpiece of death, and that's your thing.
I have to come with a camera.
Jack, you're going because your wife loved this particular artist. It makes you feel closer to her. This artist's art. And last but not least, Doctor, your good friend Mary Jansen, the head curator of the Cecil Thorne Art Center, called you a few days ago and says she's been witnessing unsettling activity at the center ever since the atrocity exhibition arrived. She's frightened by the events and wants you to attend and talk her down with your reason and logic. It's just paintings, right? Just
Sure.
paintings.
Yeah.
So, for our next session, you will all be attending a high prestige socialite gala event. So I'm going to need to know how you work together to not only arrive in style, but what you're wearing, because you must dress for the event. You can't just throw on what you got in the closet. And if you have to work with the doctor or Justin to make it happen, then you do. And that includes you, Mercer. You must dress in the full tux, the whole thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We don't need the Rob Zombie.
Now you don't have to. You know, don't wear it on camera. Keep this outfit on camera because it's baller. But in character,
it's
you'll
great.
you'll be in it. You'll be in a tux. So yes, between now and then, which we'll have another alien game between then, you'll be able to work this as a team.
Okay.
I say we all show up in a hearse.
You could.
It's the 90s.
So,
And with an exhibition in a game of Kult called the Atrocity Exposition, what could go wrong?
I'm for planning. Wait, for planning? No, planning ahead. Yes.
Pre-planning.
Just planning.
I'm just planning. I don't know what's happening.
Okay.
Planning. Planning for the best of things.
All right. Well, viewers, the time has come to end our session 0 and leave our sacred temple and close our eyes to the horrors of what we've seen beyond this world. There is no turning back now as Inferno draws ever closer and the atrocities we have glimpsed can never be unseen. Even so, we must try to rest now. We will inevitably return to pick at the scabs of the lie since we're too invested now to ever turn back. And sleep will elude us until we uncover more of the truth in 2 weeks at 9 p.m. when we will dive straight into the story. As for other terrifying tales and awesome adventures you can enjoy with Vorpal Tales, you can catch me, Tyler, Eldritch Echoes Online as GM on Mondays, running our Chronicle of Darkness No Time for Reality. Wednesdays running Ghost Hunters Chimera House. Check out the Kickstarter. And Fridays running this, and next week Alien the RPG, where we are playing the newest, most recent adventure module, Destroyer of Worlds. Last session ended great. They went almost the whole session without getting hurt, and then 2 people died and 2 people got mauled at the very end. It's gonna be awesome.
This is awesome.
Hell yeah.
On Sundays, we play Conan Adventures in an Age Undreamed Of. On Tuesdays, we play Dungeon of the Mad Mage, and on Thursdays, we play Starfinder. Those are our awesome adventures. We need to break from horror. All shows at 9 p.m. Eastern. Doom Seekers of Enlightenment lets viewers know which shows they can catch you in. And if you're doing anything else fun, they can follow or watch online.
Hello, I am Steve. You can find me on the internet at Voodoo Arcade, and you can find me here at Vorpal Tales on Friday and Sunday. And you can also find, and Thursday, playing Starfinder. You can also find me on the Onyx Path channel with this fine group of people on Wednesdays for Ghost Hunter. We just did the first session, it was awesome. You can also find me every so often playing games with a friend of the channel at Patty Shakes on his Twitch channel, so give him a look.
Cool. So, hi. I have been ever and will always ever, never, sometimes, eventually be.
Ever, never, ever.
I lost track of where I was going with that, but you can find me on the internet as Changeling Ever, and if you haven't gotten sick of my face yet, you can find me in all of the Vorpal Tales games because they can't get rid of me. They'll never get rid of me. Anyway, I have enjoyed playing this game, and I disagree heartily. We do not need a break from horror, ever, at all. So, like, I can come up with backstories like that all day long.
I should have come to you for mine.
Who needs the light when you can live in the darkness?
I know, right? So good for the complexion.
So comforting.
Cancer.
Tim!
Yes, I am Tim. I am me. Yes. No. Yeah. Anyway, you can
Can't
find
get
me
out
on...
of character now.
I know, right? God damn it! This is gonna be hard. God, my wife's gonna kill me. So, yeah. Click. Okay, there we go. You can find me on the internet at Othellos99. After this, you will see me Sunday for the first episode of Conan 3 Black Coffins. That is gonna be awesome. I cannot wait to do that one. You will find me again on Thursday for Starfinder as Sobok Squad Killer. And that game is just amazing, and I cannot wait to do Aliens again, because that's going to be just
Hell yeah.
a lot of screaming and hilarity. And I am so looking forward to the rest of this game. I cannot wait. However, between then and the rest of the other games, I will try to start my streams for the Vorpal Tales Arc server. Try and get that up and running now.
Yeah.
Yes.
That'd be awesome.
Check out our stream channel for those. Dwayne.
I am Dwayne, and you guys can find me on the internet at Made of Kimchi. I will be here. Next one is Tuesday for Mad Mage with Patty Shakes, and then Thursday with Space Lord PJs, Starfinder, and again every Friday for bi-weekly Alien and Kult. Outside of that, because it is the Spooky Woo month, I will be playing Alien Isolation as many times as I can.
What's your stream channel so people know?
You guys can find me at Made of Kimchi on Twitch.
And John.
So I continue to be an atom with the half-life of a million years, also known as J3 billion. I am here most often, right here on Thursdays for the Starfinders, the Wednesdays for our journey into the Madhouse, which is going fantastic, by the way. Completely haven't figured out that we're doing the whole stupid people. That's awesome. Trope. And then again here for our Cult Divinity Lost Soul on Fridays. 3 games which I have an immense love for. Also,
don't forget Alien, where your Marine is waiting for you. Your Marine actually survived the last session.
Yeah.
Oh shit!
Even though you weren't there.
So I will be here next Friday for Alien Isolation, and I am super excited for all these games. I have a deep love in my heart for everything RPG, and that's been the atom with a half-life of a million years.
And one last thing for our ride or die viewers who watch us all the way to the end. Each of our players can vote for any other player for any reason. A vote is worth +2 to any roll in any future session. Stacks with other bonuses. Saving votes overlaps, which means you can't do 2 + 2s to get a +4. You have to separate them, but they do stack with your other modifiers. You must declare you're using the bonus before your roll, not after. This will also be the viewer rewards, which also carry over. Same thing. I know at least, and Tim got an award tonight from
I was going to
Sean.
say, I got one from Sean, and you got 2 from Sean.
My rewards will simply allow me to make moves when I normally couldn't against you. All right.
I was going to ask if those are going to carry over to next week. Next
Yes.
game.
Votes
Okay, I'll
and
make a
viewer
note.
awards carry over until used. So, Steve, who and why?
I knew you were going to ask me first, and I don't appreciate it. This
You know, I
one's-
know he's gonna ask me last, and that's a godsend.
He still won't be ready.
This one is so freaking tough.
You're probably not wrong. See, I have an idea in my head, and then whenever I'm called on, just immediately disappears.
It's like a bubble. One prick. Hold on.
Yep.
Oh, this is
There's
an
a lot of
takes
good
is the
character
little
moments
prick.
tonight, even though all we did was talk about likes,
Yeah.
dislikes. Yeah.
Sorry. Just to move this along, I'm gonna vote with the first thing that comes to mind. So that's John. When you your character, one has more of a kind of not total asshole background than a lot of us do. So good for you.
I missed the memo on
You
that
missed the
one.
memo on that one, so that's good. But also, your very melancholy delivery of everything fit perfectly.
Yeah.
And there was that moment where even Tyler was like, "Wow, you sucked all the energy out, perfect." And like that's the game.
Well done.
So
Yes.
that's awesome. So that's
Look,
So take my vote.
that don't worry, I will suck the living joy out of everything.
You're in
Ever.
the right
Who and
game.
why?
It's probably pretty obvious who I'm gonna vote for because I was dying all fucking night.
Yep.
Yeah,
God damn it, Tim.
so good.
Bastard. I've known him for years and I've never seen him do that before, and it was just, I died. Again.
Rain.
I gave you warning.
I am also going to be voting for John.
Same reason.
Yes, being able to suck the life out of the room was rather impressive, and even I didn't even know it happened until you said something. I was like, why do I feel so bad all of a sudden?
Oh, that's called good character roleplay.
But no, like the backstory is, when you said make something dark, that is a backstory I wouldn't have even thought of.
Wow.
I was like, I need to be a horrible person, and you just flopped it to where you're not a horrible person, but you just had a horrible life.
Yeah, horrible things were done to an okay-ish person.
Tim.
My vote is actually going to go to Ever tonight because of that amazing backstory that
Hell yeah.
Ever put together.
Hell
Because
yeah.
holy crap!
I would also watch that movie. Yes.
Yeah, so good.
I would watch this. That should be a miniseries and a book because that was just awesome.
Since Stephen
Magic.
King is watching, maybe he can help make that happen, right?
There,
And Clive Barker, more appropriate for this game. And last but not least, John.
I am jealous that you wrote a better backstory than me. And so therefore you get my points. Well done. Well done. Sarah, you're a badass.
Okay. Now, dear viewers, close your eyes. Shh. It's okay. Close them tight and relax. We'll be here, watching
and may
from
or
the
may not
shadows.
stab you.
Our eyes are unblinking because we've cut off our eyelids. Our hooks and knives are ready to share with you the secrets of sensation we have learned. Shh. Hush now and sleep. We're always here, in the dark. Always just behind you. Good night.